Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. We do have a guest change on the Spiritual You, Geraldine Orozco, not feeling very well. So my good friend, psychic Paisley Town from Vancouver, British Columbia, is taking over the airwaves tonight with me. You'll love her if you haven't heard her before. She's amazing. Great energy, and she's got fantastic hair. Fantastic hair. So we will bring Paisley in momentarily. And we say hello to each and every one of you. Tonight we have Tim Mothman and his goatee in the gold medal position. Race fan with a silver. Christine Lynn with a bronze medal tonight. Hi, gorgeous and talented Kira. Shaq Valet, how are you? Chris 716, Kathy Evans. Thank you all for coming on in. We scroll on down. There's Forrest Louie. Forrest Louie will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Moving forward, little Timmy in the backwoods. He's not really in the backwoods. He's actually back behind my screen tonight. Yeah.
Hello.
You'll see a lot more of Tim coming up here on Spaced Out Radio very soon. Pissing me off, Everton Walters. Pissing me off. Deer Slayer, Karen in the Woo Train, Shadow Seekers, Brown Dwarf. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Cosmic Joe, how are you, my man? Hope you're doing well. Kitty Catty Whack, thank you for coming on in. Manitoba Becky, the pride of Brandon, Manitoba, home of the Wheat Kings. They call her the Wheat Queen. Manitoba Becky will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Good to have you back, Baxter. Simon the Likeable, how are you? Hi, Eternity Eternal. Chris Laker, how you doing? Sandra Kincaid, how are you? Much love to you, my dear. She's awesome, Sandra. Amazing. Amazing person. Lisa Davey, how are you? Les Paul Holland, strumming away to Bumblefoot in Australia. Thank you for joining us. Ozzy, how you doing, man? As we continue on with our roll call tonight. Who's next? Well, it's Operation Shutdown. What's happening, my man? Melvin from Mars and Travis William Moosetoos, two of my favorite people in the chat room. Scrolling on down, Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Jerry O'Brien, what's happening? Hey, Cosmic Joe, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. Very much appreciate your love and support, Joe. You're amazing. And thank you. What am I saying? The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Guy Calgary, how you doing? Deanna Ann, what's happening? Algaray over on Twitch, 2,000 push-ups in just 2.5 minutes. He's pumped up for tonight's show. Michael Fontaine, Ozzy Ange, Christine Lynn, Scanman, Flat 6. How y'all doing? Hi, Lisa Smith. Thank you for joining us as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Who's next? Well, Marty Burback is next on UFO Day. Matthew Goodka, what's happening? Thank you for Happy World UFO Day. To you as well. Purple-haired Pixie Lara, Warden Dragon, Skip to Maloo, and Millennium, my man. A great Canadian mullet if I've ever seen one. Love you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Robert Lamoth, what's happening? All right, let's get the radio side going, shall we? Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in, and thank you for joining us. We have Paisley Town, Vancouver psychic and numerologist joining us for the Spiritual You. We are in the middle of roll call here as we are still awaiting Bill WD-40, who I don't know where the hell he's been. He's been gone. We need some lube here, Bill. You got to show up. It's a little dry around here. Because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. You don't want that rigidness. It's never comfortable. Never comfortable. All right. Toe tag, how you doing? Good to see you. Don't forget, everybody, the super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And if you want some swag, head to spacedoutradio.com, click on our store, go shopping there. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Nothing ugly. You can wear our stuff in public. Throw your horns up, everyone. Hi, JSCO. Let's rock. Mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on all major podcast networks. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out, bump foot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Spiritual You time. It's that one time of the year we try and find our Z and G. Paisley Town filling in for an ailing Geraldine Orozco tonight. We're going to have fun with Paisley, who's basking away in the sunshine of Vancouver. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton is here with another spooky story. Follow that up as Jackie Harmon will have the cryptid report. And we got some weird, strange tales to tell you tonight. All right, let's get right to it. Paisley Town is a Metro Vancouver-based intuitive psychic reader of psychometry, tarot, and numerology. She is a mentor. Growing up in southern Ontario, she always felt various unexplainable tugs and an affinity for stones, shells, crystals, and other inert forms that nonetheless teemed with life and structure. It was in the mid-1990s when living in North Vancouver that she was drawn to begin her metaphysical training. While trained in many mystical and psychic arts, it was when she was introduced to psychometry, which is sensing associations from personal objects, in her case, mostly metal objects such as jewellery, keys, belt buckles, etc., that her intuitive compassion really came through strong. PaisleyTown.com is her website. Paisley Town, it is so good to have you back on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for joining us tonight. How you been?
I'm great. How are you doing, Dave?
Well, after this past weekend with our buddy Merle, I can tell you I'm still a little shaken on that. Still a little shaken up over what happened there, because when you go from the hunter to the hunted, it's not a very comfortable feeling, Paisley. And that is something that I'm still trying to figure out to get over.
True story. Yeah, it sounds really exciting. I can't wait to hear more. I'll have to get in touch with Merle so I can see some of the footage.
Oh, yeah. Well, he got the footage. He actually called me right before this show. And he's like, Dave, it's amazing. The footprints that we found are amazing. So I wasn't going to go back there for a while. I might go back this weekend. I may go back during the day, not at night, No friggin' way at night. But during the day, I might do it. I might do it this week, coming weekend. But
Next
that's for
time
another
Merle comes, he can. What's
another
that?
day. That's for another story, another day.
Yes.
Our audience is ever changing, Paisley. And for those who are new to you, let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, you're somebody who has been doing this for the last 20 plus years. You got into this because you kept having things happen around you that you couldn't explain. How did your journey begin?
Gosh, that's a tricky question. When I was quite young, when I was around 3, I don't have a recollection of this, but my mom told me in my 20s. When I was 3, I was predicting things that would happen in the future, and my mom was very uncomfortable with that, so she shut all that down real quick. So around 1995, I moved from Ontario to the West Coast, British Columbia. And I had always been interested in everything to do with psychic, metaphysical stuff. And it's funny, when you were reading my intro, you said the word physics and then you said psychic. And
Yes.
I've taken physics too. Anyway, yeah, my mom shut it down. So when I moved out here, I didn't really have a lot of family around. So I went to metaphysical school. I went to kind of like a little mini Hogwarts school, and I took every class that they offered, all of it, everything.
That is awesome. And now today, you've turned that attention and that knowledge into helping people, not only with their own questions that they have about their lives, their future, their past, but you also help teach people to do this now.
Yes, I have a lot of students that I mentor, because when I was learning, I didn't really have one mentor. I had like certain people that would teach me mediumship, and someone else who was do a tarot class, and someone else teach pendulums and all the different topics. So I kind of just took what I learned, and I teach about 36 different metaphysical topics. Yeah, not all at once.
No, obviously. But you have created a very solid reputation for yourself in the greater Vancouver area as somebody who could be trusted and noted. And for the people out there who don't know, the world of psychic reading, especially since the internet took off and everybody has so-called found their spiritual Zen side, it's become more competitive than what people would think.
Absolutely. There's a lot of new psychics, and it's amazing. Even like during what happened in the world 4 years ago, a lot of new psychics around on
Are
social
they
media.
okay? Let me ask you this, and I'm not trying to cause any controversy here, but I'm gonna hit you up for it. Are these new psychics coming out? Are they really psychic, or are they people who have developed a path for the spiritual side of things and are just reading cards and the meaning from tarot cards and the meaning from the book?
Well, I think a lot of new readers will definitely read from the book, but the people that I work with and associate with, we all are sort of in agreement that you could throw the book away and just read the cards. It's great to get a basic understanding of the suits of the tarot, the major and minor arcana, the different symbols on the cards. And some people read oracle cards, some people do tarot, and then there's other styles like Kipper and Lenormand. And yeah, it's really interesting.
Well,
I always thought I would be a tarot reader. So the first thing I picked up was tarot cards. But
mhm.
as it turned out, psychometry was my gift. And then I got dragged into the numbers.
How does one find their gift? Because with all these newfound psychics coming out, I often wonder how they find themselves.
Most people know that they have some gifts and they're not quite sure how they fit in. And for about 3 years, people were coming to me for readings, and I would write down their birthday to do numerology for them or pull some cards for them. And spirit would indicate to me that, the person sitting in front of you has psychic ability. So I'd say, oh, like, I'm looking at your numbers, your birthday, your name, and I can see that you have psychic ability. And some people are very hesitant about that because they're not really out of what I call the broom closet. They're kind of like pseudo psychics. So, and I say, oh, you're a reader. And they say, well, I have 26 decks of cards at home, but I'm not a real reader. So they lack the confidence. So that's why I started doing psychic development classes with groups of people here in the Vancouver area. But I do them online now too.
Wow.
Yeah.
For you, with the new so-called competition that is out there for psychics, it sounds, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it sounds so funny that we have psychic competition out there. I often think of, like, when I go into my own spiritual shops here in my little town, the one thing that I notice is we have a lot of people spewing a lot of words, but they don't really know what it means. And it's really this newfound spirituality, not saying that I know everything, because I sure as hell don't. Okay. But I find it, Paisley, that a lot of these new psychics, they just want to throw around the verbiage, but they don't understand what their path is. And it's almost like they're just wearing a facade in order to be the spiritual guru of their friends, or, they can name you every crystal, but they can't tell you, what they're supposed to do or define who they are. It's like they hide behind this spiritual facade. Are you noticing that too?
I think that's been true for a really long time, not just in the last few years, but I also know that as a reader, I sometimes don't know what my path is. Like, I can't do readings I guess I could do a reading for myself, but I don't trust the information if I'm reading for myself because it might be a little, jaded.
Oh, very much understand that. For you, though, as you've gone down this path, what have you learned over the last 20 years of doing this, not only about yourself, but on how spirituality has changed?
Well, one thing I've really noticed is that the more people practice, the more self-confidence they get in doing readings, but also self-confidence in other areas of their life. Not everybody belongs to groups of things. And when you do psychic work, you have to do the work. Like, I give homework and there's action that needs to be taken. And if people don't do the work, they're going to kind of stay the same personality that they were, or the same confidence level. But the people that I've been working with, their confidence goes off the charts. It goes from below zero to off the charts. So I love to be of service to people and watch people grow.
What has been one of your biggest accomplishments in helping people?
I would say, so about 4 years ago, Merle and we went on a house clearing session downtown on Richard Street. And there was a couple there that rented an apartment on the 45th floor or something like that. The lady couldn't sleep at night. She was constantly scared. She would walk around the house carrying her rosary, very uncomfortable with the activity in the building and in her suite. And I wasn't trying to, go fishing for a student, but she became one of my students. We did such a good job there. She didn't want to know too much about the results of what Merle came up with, but that was a great investigation. During filming, so basically I do a walk around of the place, and Merle will come with the camera equipment, and he doesn't usually talk. He just kind of follows me around, and I just say what each room feels like, or if I pick up any information. So while we were filming, Michael got scratched right across his cheek, quite strongly scratched. There was a big red mark on his face for a few hours after that. And the owners didn't want to. They were pretty freaked out about what was happening, especially the female. And I think he got a lot of evidence from that shoot. And we cleared the space using some sacred medicine. And I kept checking in with her to see if she wanted me to come back and clear it again. And she calmed down. She was able to sleep at night. It was a pretty upsetting situation to witness how upset she was. I could really feel it. I have a lot of compassion for people who have fear. And I was checking in with her 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, and she's like, "No, I'm good." And this is a client who had me clear several of her properties. You know, when she moved, she had me clear the new space, and when she moved out of the old space, she had me clear that. So she trusted me, and she took all my classes, like 18 weeks of classes. And then she now sometimes reads at events for me. She does mediumship, and I'm not a psychic medium. So I teach psychics, but I don't teach them how to read. I teach them how to be an awesome reader.
What's the difference in readings? Like I'm familiar with, the clairvoyances, or the clairs. And I know about tarot cards and spirit cards and animal cards. I know about tea leaves and many other sorts. I use a pendulum to ask questions. And I used my pendulum this past weekend to try and figure out if there was any activity going on where I was sensing it. And sure enough, that's where it kind of went. But for you, what's the difference between all of these lines of communication with spirit?
I feel like a lot of people are talented and have special gifts. And if they're nurtured and given a safe place to practice their gifts can get super accurate, and they can get to where they want to go really quickly. And so I think with support and encouragement and practice, like it's unlimited. Like, also, most people who do tarot, they do tarot for 5 or 10 years. Historically, they do tarot for a few years, and then they branch off into something different. But I didn't have a mentor at the time when I was learning, just a bunch of different teachers of different topics of psychic metaphysics. So I didn't know the rules, so I broke the rules. I thought I would learn tarot, but it just wasn't coming to me. So the first thing I did was psychometry, and I could do it really well the first time I tried it. And I'm still doing it today, and I have lots of repeat clients. People come to me and like, should I buy this property? People come to me, what's going on with the health with this person, my loved one? I brought a picture of them in a sealed envelope.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, how does that come to you? How do you get the messages?
It's magic, Dave. Can't tell you that on the air. No.
Yes, you can.
It's a little bit of magic and just practice. Honestly, I don't know how it comes to me. I often feel like it comes from above, because it feels like I download information. And then if there's too much going on, I reboot. Like, I stop, protect myself, ground again.
What does that feel like when you say get information downloads it or downloads? Like, I know what it's like personally, but for you to explain it to our audience, what does that really mean?
It's interesting because I can't say where it comes from, but I just know what comes, and I speak what I feel. except I'm not feeling it. So it's kind of it's a really tricky question. So part of what I do is medical intuition. So sometimes I might sit down and somebody wants a numerology reading. They pay me for an hour session, hour and a half, whatever, however long it takes. And I'm starting to add up their numbers and look at the elements of their name and their personality type and their communication style. And spirit will interrupt me to tell them a message. And I don't hear the message like words, like it's not like voicemail or someone standing over my shoulder. I'm not sure how the information comes, but I just know it comes. And the more I trust it, the more it comes. And the more the person confirms the information, the more it comes. So I'm not one of those psychics that likes to get tested. If you're just gonna book a session to get tested, go somewhere else. I don't need to prove how good I am. I have a lot of clients.
A lot of people, though, don't trust that message that's being given to them. How do you convince people to listen for that message or feel that message coming through?
Nope, I won't do it. If somebody's not sure, like if somebody calls me and they say, you know, I haven't had a reading before and I'm kind of on the fence and they want me to talk them into it, I tell them I won't read for them. I'm done. Like our conversation's over, go call someone else. And sometimes that process gets people to book with me. And that's not my intention. I'm not here to convince anybody. I don't, it's not a pony show. Like take the prize and leave. I've refused to read for some people.
Well, 2 minutes ago, before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour, Paisley, what would refuse you reading for people?
Sometimes people come for a reading because they want information about another person. So it's very important to me. I feel like I'm ethical and I want to make sure what's your motive? If somebody comes to me and their son's been missing for 4 weeks and the police found his truck and they can't find the guy, the motive is to help him be safe, to help find him if possible. So for that, yes. If someone's like, oh, I want information. What's my ex up to? I haven't seen him for 5 years, but I want to, I want all the dirt on him. What's he up to these days? I don't have his permission to read him, so I won't do it.
Right. Have you ever worked on cold cases or missing cases for law enforcement?
Not for law enforcement, but for families.
And how does that usually go?
We have found some people, and there's one gentleman that went missing in Wannock in the Maple Ridge area outside of Vancouver in the valley here. And he went missing in, I think it was 2018. He hasn't been found. A team of us usually work together on a case like that.
How do you keep the emotion out of it?
I protect myself with prayer and grounding and sacred medicine before I do this work because I find it sacred. I feel like it's a gift. Like some people call it a gift from God, But I protect myself before and after.
I don't know if I could do that. Like if I was intuitive like you are, I don't know if I could do that for missing cases. I would get way too emotionally involved. Like I know I could never be a police officer or a paramedic because if something ever involved a child or a teenager, I just could not handle that. There are certain situations that trigger me and I just couldn't do it. So working a cold case like that of somebody who's gone missing, all the strength to you. PaisleyTown.com is Paisley's website. If you want to check her out, I highly suggest you do. She's amazing. She's filling in for Geraldine Orozco tonight on The Spiritual You. We're having a great time with Paisley. The second half hour of the show coming up right after this. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, we're clear.
Okay, I'll be back in a second.
For a quick second, we'll put you in back there. All right, let us go to the break here. PaisleyTown.com. That's right. I got Tim in the backwoods. He's right in studio here.
Yes.
He's got a good beard and mustache combination. He does. Good beard and mustache combination.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Uh-huh. I'm training Tim to be our new UFO report guy.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun. Probably going to start it next week. Yeah.
Then we'll reveal my ugly mug.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be Ugly Mug Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Between him and I feel sorry for our YouTube listeners.
Right?
Oh, man. Dun, dun, dun.
Now you know.
Now, how far away do you live from me? About 3 miles?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're over by the heritage site, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about what? Well, drive here in under 5 minutes, but from the heritage site, I think I'm what? Like not even 400. No, probably about half a kilometer. Not even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parasolo, how you doing? Hi, Sierra. Lisa Davy. Hi, Tim in the backwoods. Show us the beard combo. You got to wait for that. You got to wait for that. Oh, Paisley's getting serious for the second half hour. She's put her glasses on. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble now. She's got that librarian look to her. That naughty librarian look.
Cheers.
There we go. Hi, gorgeous. How you doing? Come on, put them on. You look beautiful with your glasses on.
Yeah, I wanted people to see the comments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lisa's saying, it's business time. There we go. Right there. It's business time. We got about 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
So you guys had a thunderstorm.
Oh, yeah. It was funny. On the Friday and Saturday night while we were out in the forest, it was thunderstorming all around except where we were.
Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, we've had crazy weather here. Downpours like torrential and then sunny rainbows. Crazy weather.
But we're in for some warmth this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, 32 here.
Yeah, we're going to be in the low to mid 30s, encroaching on that 95-degree mark.
Yep.
Hi, Noble. Or I said hi to Noble Patrick already. Travis will be coming back on the show in a little bit. Usually it's on the weekends. Phineas over on X. How are you? Phineas Coat Hanger. Love that name. Who puts coat hanger in their name? Like, seriously. I love the guy. It's awesome. Okay, basically, we got about 45 seconds here, okay?
All right.
All right. 30 seconds. Thank you tonight to Cosmic Joe and Forrest Louie for the super chats. Greatly appreciate your love and support. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store, everybody. We do not have ugly swag. No ugly swag. And get ready to go here, everyone. Here we go. Here we go, the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in, even when we're talking about weird, strange things each and every night. Like tonight with Paisley Town. We will get to Paisley here momentarily, but first I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives. They're on every major podcast network and on YouTube at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Paisley Town from Vancouver, British Columbia is joining us, filling in for an ailing Geraldine Orozco on the Spiritual You. Paisley taking us downtown where the psychics keep their clairvoyance. That's hidden in downtown Vancouver. Who knew? Who knew? PaisleyTown.com is her website if you want to book a session or check out the great work that she does to help people. Paisley, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave.
You do a lot of work in the paranormal, and you have been on many ghost adventures, not the television show, just adventures in general. How do you use your skills, or how does one use their skills to communicate with the other side on a paranormal investigation?
Honestly, I just show up. I usually get the address, and I don't need to know or want to know about the history of the place or what's been happening there. Sometimes, if I'll just give you an example, we did an investigation. One of the teams, I work with a few different teams, and I'm not sort of working with one specific team. We did an investigation in Fort Langley at a popular restaurant called The Lamplighter. And there were instructions when we arrived. They told me that they didn't want us to clear any of the activity. They were pretty happy with the ghosts that were hanging out there, messing up stuff. They were friendly ghosts, and they said, don't send them back to the light or anything. And I don't do that kind of work anyway, but some psychics who go on investigations will clear the energy. I don't do that. I just go and see what comes up and write it down and draw pictures and give messages.
That's very interesting, because I know one psychic lady who used to live in town here. Thank God she's no longer here. But she caused a lot of havoc at our local museum. To this day, one of our favorite ghosts for when we started our tour is still not cooperating, still upset with everything that went on. And as much as we've tried to take away that energy and bring her back, that spirit is so timid now that she will not communicate. Like, this is a spirit, we call her Mary, who literally, Paisley, I would put 2 K2 meters on the floor. And her signal was, when she stood in the middle of those K2 meters, she would set them off. And then she would allow our patrons on the tour to literally come in and touch her energy. That's how much she loved this. And this
Wow.
dark psychic lady came in and tried to ruin everything. I later found out why. She saw the paranormal tour as a reason to make money. And the more she made me look bad, the more she was hoping that the museum would kick me out and bring her in at a higher cost. Because I do it for zero.
As it should be.
Yeah, and she wanted at least 50% of the revenue.
50% is zero?
No, she wanted. Well, let's say we charge $25 a person to take the tour. If you get 40 people on a tour night, that's $1,000. 50% is $500. Right?
All the teams I work with don't charge money.
Well,
if we charge a cost to the people to come and have a tour, we give them a detailed description of different rooms. We show stuff that the owners had, especially at historic sites. The money is usually a fundraiser situation that gets 100% of the proceeds go back to the owner, the site, the heritage site.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with doing it that way. But it's amazing, though, how if people do the spiritual game the wrong way, how it could negatively affect any sort of contact.
Yeah, I don't do that, so I don't have a lot of information about it. I know that, like for me, when I go on an investigation, I'm the equipment. So I know everyone else on the team has put a lot of money and time and hours into like listening to recordings and purchasing or building equipment and learning how to use it properly and learning like what things could set this off or set that off. Like a lot of people spend time looking at photographs and say, nope, that's dust on the camera lens, or that's, that's not a real orb because it's a reflection from this or that, like they spend a lot of time and a lot of money with their equipment. And I think teams should have a donate page in case, somebody enjoys the tour. They want to give back to the team that investigated, buy them a coffee on their website, donate some money on their website.
When you are on a paranormal investigation, you don't require or you don't want any type of notes or whatever. You literally want everything to come naturally to you. Why is that important to you, and how does that work?
So I really feel that confirmation is most of what we do. Like I can hold somebody's jewelry, or I could go on an investigation, or I could be doing a reading at a trade show and tell you, oh, your grandma Jessie's here, Dave, and this is what she looks like, and here's the message. But if you never didn't know her name, or you were adopted, or like if you can't confirm the information I'm giving you, the information I'm giving you is not worth anything. So confirmation to me is where it's at. It's like if I say, oh, your grandma Jessie's here, and you say, oh yeah, it was Grandma Jessica, that's confirmation that I'm telling you the right thing. And the more people say yes to the information I provide, the more information comes. It's sort of like it starts to open the door, and then the door is wide open.
What does it feel like to communicate with a spirit?
It feels like just talking to you on this show. It's just plain and simple. I've never had a situation where I couldn't hear what they were saying.
Do you have regular conversations with them? Like, hey, did you catch the hockey game last night? Or that latest episode of Grey's Anatomy was fantastic. How does that go?
No, not conversations. I don't contact like I'll say my team. Some people call it GA, guardian angels. Other people say it's just channeled information from spirit. And some people say it's a specific person that belongs to an individual, like someone's aunt or someone's brother. I don't have specific conversations. A lot of people want to know the answer to a question when they come to a psychic. And a lot of people don't have a clear understanding of like what is a psychic. If I tell people that I'm a psychic, very often they'll shove their hand in my face and say, read my palm. That's one of 200 or 300 different kinds of readings, palm reading. But we're not all mediums like Teresa Caputo. We're not all palm readers. Everybody has different gifts. So that's why I love teaching.
When someone comes to you saying, hey, my house is haunted, I would like you to walk through it because I think my Uncle Bob is here because he was very much attached to his belt buckle, and I inherited his belt buckle because I was a big fan of Uncle Bob's. How does that go?
That's almost like a crazy question because I've never had anybody say something like that to me before. But there was a guy who is on one of the teams. He's a very cool investigator. He looks like somebody from ZZ Top. And he had us come to his relative's house, and his relative had passed away. So we were doing an investigation, and the whole team was there, the team that he's on. And we started recording. We were in a bedroom, and I was sitting on the end of the bed. It was a tidy little small house, like a grandpa house, you know. And suddenly I could smell this very strong information. And it felt like somebody broke open a jar of, I don't know, Aqua Velva or Old Spice or something. It smelled like somebody had smashed it on the ground, and it was right at my feet. The smell was like very unpleasant for me. But they were recording, so I was trying not to gag, and I was blinking and choking. It was quite interesting. And so when they paused, they recorded for about 10 or 12 minutes, and then they turn off the recording, and then we talk amongst each other while the recordings are off. And I'm like, dude, like, do you guys smell that? It's like insane cologne. And like, they were laughing because they're like, yeah, that's the guy who passed away, who lived in this house, that he used to wear too much cologne all the time. That was, you could smell him come into the house before you could see him come into the house. So it was kind of like his business card.
You know, last year when Merle and I were in the forest at the place we were at this past weekend, I actually had that happen in the middle of the woods. Was the smell of like grandma's floral perfume coming and wafting through the trees. I was like,
and was it your grandma?
No,
Merle's?
No, it was somebody from the plane crash site. Definitely somebody from the plane crash site. So that was really interesting when that happened. That's for sure. But it's amazing how spirit will try and communicate with you because they do it in different ways. I'll give you an example. In my studio, I've talked about this before, my Bigfoot light. Okay? Normally, I'll come into the studio at least a couple times a week, and I've turned everything off the night before, and my Bigfoot light is on. And there's nobody in my studio during the day. Well, tonight, Tim and I walked outside of the studio. The light was on. When we got back into the studio about 5 minutes later, the light had been turned off. And I had to turn it back on. So it's amazing what spirit can do to either say, hello, I'm here, or, hey, this is a pretty fun place. I'm going to play some tricks on you by turning your light off and on, or maybe move that bottle of nail polish from your bathroom counter onto the shelf and back. but it's amazing what spirit will do to let us know that they are there.
Usually they just do small things that are very noticeable. Sometimes a piece of jewelry, you might take off a piece of jewelry and always keep it in the same spot. When you go to bed, you might put it on your nightstand or whatever every night. And you wake up in the morning, it's not there. And you live alone and you don't have a dog or a cat. So it's really interesting how things go missing and then they reappear.
Why would spirit do that?
I feel like when spirit has passed on, their energy, and I don't feel that they're extremely powerful and have a lot of energy to be able to move things. So they move things like coins or a ring, something that's not too heavy. Occasionally, actually, I was talking about that lady earlier that wanted her space cleared because she was freaked out. In one of her houses, not this downtown place on Richard Street, but she had a property in Maple Ridge.
Right.
When I went there to clear the space because they were moved out and it wasn't selling, and then I cleared the space and it sold. And it was in a time a few years ago, before 2020, when real estate was really hopping, but no offers on that house for like 3 or 4 months. When I got there, there was an upstairs room that had a flat screen TV attached to the wall previously. And I suppose if a TV wasn't installed properly, it might fall off the wall. But based on the marks that were on the wall that I witnessed, and based on the fact that she told me the TV was found 10 feet away from that wall, I'm pretty sure TVs don't bounce really good. It looked like somebody had taken the TV and pulled it directly straight out of the wall. Like you would pull a nail out of the wall with a hammer, like straight out of the wall. There was marks on the wall that it was pulled out of the wall, but no one in the house had pulled it off the wall.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen spirit do?
I think that would be it, the big TV. Yeah.
Have you ever had a situation where the spirit has invaded your own personal privacy? Maybe with, I don't know, maybe you're cooking dinner one night and all of a sudden, your spaghetti container knocks over or something. I don't know. I'm just using examples that are popping into my head.
The first thing that ever happened to me, before I was doing psychic work, I went for a reading with this lady when I lived in Windsor, Ontario. And she was she just looked like somebody's grandma. She wasn't like witchy or anything like that, not pagan. She just looked like a sweet little old lady. And she did a reading for me in her basement. She was able to provide such detailed information to me during my reading that I thought to myself, that is none of your effing business. And she stopped the reading and she said, "Dear, you're not letting me in. Can I hold your hand?" So I felt very invaded by her because she was telling me very private, personal things about my life that nobody knew. She couldn't have known. I was kind of questioning, like, where are you getting that from? Like, it was pretty cool. So of course I just gave her my hands and she held my hands, and then the reading just continued.
No kidding, eh? No
That's
kidding.
eerie, though. It can be. I think that's why, Dave, people use tarot cards and pendulums and different metaphysical tools. Because if a stranger came and sat down at my table and I just started telling them stuff, which happens sometimes, it can be scary, unnerving. I had one young man, he was about 26. He said, "Did you talk to my mother before I came here today?" And I said, "Dude, I don't even know your last name. Like, I don't know who your mother is. I said, I might have done a reading for your mother at this location because I read at a different venue sometimes. But I said, I don't even know your name. I just met you. I just know your first name. I don't even know your phone number. I can't. No, I don't know your mom.
Well, how are you supposed to know? What do you do when you get that person come in? We got about 4 minutes to go before we go to break at the top of the hour. That person who comes in and says, "Oh, you're not going to be able to read me. You're not going to be able to get anything off me. I don't believe in this stuff, really. But you could try." What do you do with somebody like that?
Okay, so that's only happened once, and it was with a guy that Merle knows, and I'm just going to call this guy Jay because Merle knows who it is. Merle used to be on a team with this guy before he did his own paranormal road trippers business that he has going now. So I meet Jay for the first time, and I sit down at a table, and there's about six or seven, 8 of us at a table. It was my first time meeting the team. Jay says, "Yeah, nobody can read me. I've been to lots of readers. Nobody can read me." And I said, "Well, maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know until I try." So I told him that I felt some information in the side of my face on the right-hand side. And I felt like there was damage to his face, except it wasn't an accident, which to me didn't even make sense. Because, like, if you have damage to your face, it's usually from a car crash or a fall or something. And he was really surprised. And I just kept touching my face, like playing with the side of my jaw. And I said, "Does that make any sense to you that there's damage to your face, but it wasn't an accident?" He said, "Well, yeah, I was a boxer and I got punched in the face on purpose. Somebody intentionally hit me and it dislocated a little piece of bone in my face." And then he just kind of showed me like this. He just did a motion like I was doing when I was explaining it. And he said a piece of the bone chipped off and it's floating around in there, a little tiny piece of bone.
Wow.
No car crash, no fall. He got punched in the face on purpose as a boxer. So it was an interesting, he was very shocked.
All in the name of fun.
Yep.
All in the name of fun. Who doesn't like a good punch to the face every now and again? Says the hockey player who took a few. And sometimes you just need to take that punch in the face and let it go numb, and then you're good to go. All it takes is one. Unless you fight a guy who every time he hits you, you actually see stars. Oh, that one hurt. You're bringing up bad memories here, Paisley. Bringing up
You're
bad
welcome.
memories. Appreciate that. Guidance. Where do you get your guidance from?
I can't say where it comes from. I feel like it comes from above because it doesn't feel like it comes from beside me or behind me or in front of me or below me. I don't know that I feel that it comes from above, but I sense that it comes from sky energy, not earth energy.
And do you think it has anything to do with the fact that when you are getting those messages that there is a higher power that is giving them to you?
Well, I believe when I do my prayers and my protection, I ask for the highest and best. I don't want to deal with trickster energy. I don't want to deal with lower energies.
Right.
So I ask for the highest and best to come through. So to me, if something's highest and best, it comes from above.
Perfect. Paisley, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Paisley Town, psychic medium numerologist from Vancouver. We'll get into the numbers of numerology next on Spaced Out Radio, and we will take audience questions as well. My name is Dave Scott. We'll be right back with hour number 2, everybody. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Paige, we are clear. We got about 5.5 minutes. Good morning, Polly Rotterman. How are you? So I'm just going to put you in the green room and I'll be right back, okay?
Thanks, Dave.
All right. Be right back, everybody. Stay tuned. All right. Old Davy's back. 1 second here. What we got? We got about a minute here. All right. Hi, PK Turtle Dove. How you doing? Happy birthday, Rono. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rono. Happy birthday to you. Hi, Troy SR71. How you doing? Who else has come in? Anybody else? All right, let's get Paisley back in here. Thank you to our 2 super chatters tonight, Joe and Forrest Louie. Much appreciate the love and support. If you have questions for Paisley, put them in capital letters, so that way we can make things happen there. Here we go, everybody. Hour number 2 coming right up here in 5 seconds. Hi, Body Tech. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in. We really appreciate you hanging on out with us as we get into numerology next with Paisley Town, psychic extraordinaire from Vancouver, British Columbia. But first, we want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. Thank you for tuning us in. We really appreciate being your nightful of entertainment wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Also, reminder to you that you can find us on any major podcast network if you want to download us for free. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gallianthropy. Gallianthropy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, PaisleyTown.com is Paisley's website, where we are getting into the awesomeness of numerology. Numbers always tell a tale. Numbers do not lie. And Paisley will confirm that for us tonight. Paisley, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Why are numbers so important?
Well, I don't know. They're connected to everything: music, language, elements. They just connect everything together. My whole life growing up with dyslexic with my numbers, I always said I hate numbers and I'll never work with numbers, and numbers are stupid. So it's quite interesting to me to be a numerologist, and then I have like a side gig where I do financial stuff. All numbers.
How do we know what numbers work for us?
What numbers work for you? So some people have like a favorite number, and if they feel like it's their lucky number, it's going to be their lucky number. And other people might say, oh, I don't like that number and I avoid it. I don't want a license plate with that number. I don't want a phone number with that number. So they should avoid it. But with numerology, it's more based on someone's birthday and their name, the spelling of their name. It's pretty crazy how it works.
How do you get a reading off of that?
So I'll use your name for an example, Dave, but I want to give a shout out to Joe Monk because I saw him in the chat room. It's been a long time since I've seen some of these people you have in the chat room here. So the name Dave is the energy of 6, and the name David is the energy of 1. So on your birth papers, your name's David, right?
Yes.
Is it? So you actually give yourself extra life lessons by using the name Dave. So you're born with the name David. With that spelling, it's one energy, which is water personality, which is like go with the flow, leader, teacher, independent. It's not usually someone who works on a team. So you're better when you get to make decisions about things instead of letting other people tell you what to do. And the name Dave is more sympathetic, more sensitive, more compassionate. So if you want to present yourself stronger, use the name David. And if you want to present yourself more approachable, you can use the name Dave.
Interesting. I would
I know
never
you're,
never knew that.
yeah, and I know you're born in May, but is it the 24th?
Yes. Yes. Good memory.
Good memory. It's been a few years, right? So
Well, we've known each other long enough now where you should have it memorized in your day planner.
well, plus Vegas, Reno, the trips, all that, right?
Yeah.
Joe Monk's calling me baby. It's funny. So yeah, like the name Joe and the name Joseph, different energy. Yeah.
Okay. So when numbers come to play, are there certain numbers that follow us around?
I'm not too sure about that. I would suspect if you're drawn to something, it's like the law of attraction. If you're drawn to something, you can attract that to you. Do you have a favorite number, Dave?
I will tell you something with me. So when my daughter was born in 1999, she was 5 pounds, 13 ounces. Since then, I see the number 513 everywhere. It's even on my garbage cans at home. Okay. I can look at the clock. It'll be 513. I can be driving in rush hour traffic and see a license plate with 513 on it. It's the weirdest thing. It's this connection I don't understand.
So you're more prone to notice that number because you know what she weighed when she was born.
Is it that simple, or is it like it's haunting me?
I would say 513 is a lucky number for you. So if you're buying lottery tickets, definitely cross those off, 513 or 5 and 13.
See, the funny part about that is I hate the number 13. Can't stand it. Never
It's
liked
different
it.
than 513 though.
True. But I try and
And
shy away from the number 13.
do you have a reason that you don't like 13?
Just never. I always thought it was an ugly looking number. It's just not an attractive looking number. It's like 26 is not a nice looking number. Okay. I don't know why. I'm silly that way. I know.
So 13, depending on people's culture, numbers play a big role as well. Because I live in Vancouver and we have a lot of Asian population here. And I've done a little bit of Feng Shui. And I've taken some Cantonese lessons. So the number 4, like 13, there's no 13 floors in a building. It goes 12 and 14 quite often because 13 is meant to be unlucky. But the Asian people don't like the number 4. And it's not necessarily just superstitious. In Cantonese, so do you speak any Chinese, Dave? Do you know about this?
Do not.
Okay. So in English, I could say to you, hey, or I could say, hey, and it means the same thing. But in Cantonese, the length of the tonation of the word, you could say the word like ba or ba or ba, and it's 3 different words. So in Cantonese, the number 4 sounds very similar to the word death. And Asian people do not speak about death, especially in public. They don't want to talk about it. And they find 4 unlucky, and they don't want a phone number that has a 4, and they don't want 401, or they won't live on the 4th floor of a building. They won't live in suite 604. They won't, yeah. They avoid 13s and 4s.
Which is weird considering for most of the Chinese culture, the number 8 is considered very lucky, which is a double 4.
Yeah. The number 8 is a different word, so it doesn't sound like the word death.
Got you.
It's a different sound completely. And also, in English, we have 26 letters, so we can spell out words. But in, let's say, Cantonese, for example, there's 2,600 characters or 2,400 characters just to learn the basics to talk to like a 2-year-old person. They just keep, yeah, it's very intricate.
Okay. Well, there's a lesson learned right there.
I haven't spoken Cantonese for a long time.
Still sounds difficult. Somebody wants to help me with that. That's okay. Let's get to some audience questions here as we continue on. Let's start off with Sierra here. Hi, Paisley. What is your take on extraterrestrials and when we will meet the ETs here on Earth?
So I don't have a take on extraterrestrials, and I'm super excited that they're in the news a lot and that people are talking about them a lot. And when I first came on your show, Dave,
yes,
many years ago, I came on as a guest a few times, and then there was a different host that's not with you guys anymore. And there was a show called Two Mediums and a Large. And so sometimes we'd have a psychic medium and me doing readings for 2 hours with everyone in the audience. And it was super fun. So the other psychic medium, well, I don't call myself a medium, I'm a psychic, but she was a medium. She had a lot to say about ETs, and I loved it when she would talk about extraterrestrials. And I learned a lot, and I'm open to it. I just don't have any information to share about it because I feel like the more I know about it, the less I know, honestly.
Does it scare you?
No, I'm excited to learn about it. I think it's fascinating. It makes sense to me, and it's just a lot. It's like trying to learn astrology. You could read your horoscope in the paper. It's 2 sentences or whatever, 3 sentences. But to learn astrology, it's something you're going to want to devote a lot of time and energy to. Like, I know people that have been studying astrology for 20 years, and they're still teaching and learning and teaching and learning and constantly more things. I love that.
Wow. Okay, let's move on. This is from Body Electric. I have a question for Paisley, which is you. Where can people find people like you? Intuitive psychic reader. There are many true scammers out there, especially on social media. Thank you so much. Paisley is my fave.
Yes. Awesome. I would say ask someone you know who's been to a reader. A lot of my clients come to me. People will try and add me as a friend on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, do I know you? And they might say, I'm a friend of Mothman's, or I'm a friend of Joe Monk's, or I'm a friend of Dave Scott's, or Merle told me to call you. Like, I don't just add people as friends randomly on my Facebook. The people on my Facebook, I know them. I've either met them, or I've read for them, or I've talked to them. or they've come to my psychic fairs and my events that I plan, because I host big events around town. And I've been doing that I've probably hosted almost 100 events. I do it throughout the year, every year, unless we're not allowed to leave our house. Then I host them online. So it depends. Some people, Dave, sometimes people just want a palm reading. So I have 3 or 4 palm readers that I know that just specialize in that. So I'm happy to network with other readers and give out their information, their website, their phone number. I'll call them up and say, so and so wants a reading with a palm reader. Can I give out your number? And people network with me. I do parties, psychic parties. So I might go to someone's house for a wedding shower or a birthday party, and I'll sit and do 25 readings at the party, like mini readings. And I have a few friends that do readings that don't do parties, so they give out my phone number. So I like to support other readers if they're ethical and work in a good way.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right, let's move on and say hello to Little Cam, who is asking, what provokes you to be so accurate? Your 2020 SOR readings were spot on.
What provokes me to be so accurate? I can't take any credit for accuracy because I feel like I'm the messenger. Like even the word medium, it's like it's in the center between where it's coming from and the client, where it's going to. It's like we're just the messengers giving the information. So I can't take any credit for accuracy, but I can say this. If somebody doesn't, when I tell somebody something in a reading and they're not sure what the heck I'm talking about, like it just stalls. It just like more information won't flow through. Can I give you a quick example, Dave?
Please do.
So there's a theater downtown in Vancouver called the Rio Theater. It's been there, I don't even know how long, a long time, probably 70 years or so. I should know that answer to that question, but I don't. And I was there for Halloween for a live event with 350 people, and I was there for New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve, a lady in the audience, they brought up her object for me to hold on I was sitting on the stage and I was being interviewed, and I held the ring in my hand. And I said to the lady, Spirit's showing me small, tiny bones. And the lady was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So I was super nervous because I was being televised and I had lights and cameras in my face and everything. And I don't do a lot of stage work. I do one-on-one usually. So I closed my eyes and I held this ring again. And I like to read a piece of jewelry or a photograph without necessarily seeing it. It's not like Antiques Roadshow where I'm looking at it. I just close my eyes and I put it in my hand, and I just use my right hand to read the energy of the object by putting it near. And I said, I'm getting crafting with bones. The lady's like, no, I don't know. And of course, like there's 350 people staring at me. So finally she said, oh, she said, you know what? She said, we took my auntie's ashes and we had her ashes like made into that ring. And my auntie was a crafter. So it was bones I was reading. It was bone ash that I was reading. And I got bones and crafting. So it kind of broke the ice after that, but you just never know. Like I can't take credit for that. I thought it was wrong when she said no and no. I was like, oh, I guess it's not working.
All right, let's move on. We got 4 minutes to go here before we go to break. Let's go to Polly. Are our birth dates related somehow to those of our family members?
I would say either related or extremely not related. I don't know if I'm going to answer the question properly because I'm not sure if I understand the question, but
I think what she's
in
asking is, are they
Mhm.
predetermined?
I would say no, because some babies are born early, some babies are born way after their due date, like C-section, or yeah, no, I don't think they're predetermined in that way. Um, when I do numerology, I speak to people about the numbers of their name and their date of birth. And there's a lot of numbers involved, especially if it's a name change for a client. And different numbers have different elements attached to them. Just as an example, my mother and my father and my brother have water and fire in there, and a little bit of air in their names, in their birthdays. And I have water and air without fire. And I always kind of felt like I was a black sheep in my family because they were a lot more feisty than I'm more passive and quieter. Well, now that I'm getting older, I'm more mouthy, but I don't have fire energy, which is like taking action and kicking butt and getting stuff done. Like fire people, when they're motivated, they'll be like, get out of my way or I'm going to run you down because this is my goal and you're in my way. So move. Whereas me, I'm like, excuse me, could you please move? It's just different energy for communicating. So I think, sometimes based on people's birthdays, people come and bring me their family's birthdays and I help them figure out what the communication style is of the other people and themselves.
Very cool. Very cool. Paisley Town is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have her till the top of the hour. We got 2 minutes before break. Let's get one more audience question in. Let's go back to Polly here, who is asking, my 9-year-old boy keeps seeing hours with same numbers like 333 or 555. Why does it happen and why do we need to pay attention?
I believe that it happens because when someone is ready to explore the world of metaphysics, they'll see patterns of numbers and they'll keep seeing them until they start exploring the world of metaphysics. Short answer.
Well, define that a little bit because we do have another 90 seconds to go.
Okay. So, I noticed that when I started seeing numbers, I wanted to have more information about them, even though I wasn't interested in numbers per se. And I went to a psychic teacher back in 2003, I think it was. And I'm like, I keep seeing 711 and 411 and 911, 111. I was seeing those repetitive numbers, mostly just those numbers. And I said, I see 7 and 11 more than any of the other numbers, just like you see the 513. And the lady started laughing, the psychic medium who I spoke to. And 711 was a very significant number in her life too. So when she was starting to explain more psychic stuff to me, I stopped seeing those numbers as often after I started learning more. It's like when you've heard that phrase before, like when the student is ready, the teacher will show up.
Yes.
It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Right on. Paisley, I'm going to get
Yeah.
you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. PaisleyTown.com is our website. We have Paisley till the top of the hour with Spaced Out Radio. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. All right, we are clear, Paige.
Awesome. Your hair looks nice, Dave. It's not too short, not too long.
Yeah, I'm not going to grow it much longer. Tired.
My favorite is when your hair's short.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I've seen lots of the Dave looks, the ponytail and the short hair.
Oh, yes.
Is it part of your identity?
No, it just goes by how I'm feeling. There's two things in life I hate doing. I hate getting my hair cut. Actually, I love getting my hair cut, but I always think I fall into a rut for many years. Tim's laughing at me because he's bald.
Yeah, but Tim's got a beard, doesn't he?
Yes, and I hate shaving.
Nice.
I hate shaving. That is one that gets me. So I hate shaving, especially under here. Yep. So, I don't know. I'm always looking for something different. See where it goes. Phineas is asking, where did I get the alien plush doll under the Bigfoot light? This guy right here. I got him when I went to Nebraska for the Bigfoot conference.
I'm knocking everything down off my shelf.
Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Hi, Andrew, the trucking gnome. How are you? Excuse me.
So I have a book. It's called Angel Numbers.
Beautiful.
It's by Kyle Gray. Just looking up 333 and 555. See what it has to say. This is a great book. It's mostly a combination of 3-digit numbers. All the 3-digit numbers. Okay, so let's look up 513 first. Let's see what it says. Since you are the host of the show, your efforts to expand and to experience a life of abundance are preparing the road ahead. Stay focused on how you can grow and let the light lead you.
Nice. Very nice.
Can the listeners still hear us, or are we on commercial
Yes.
break sort of thing?
That's okay.
They can hear?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Who was the last question about the 9-year-old son?
That was Polly.
Polly. So 333 says, you are powerfully aligned with Jesus and other ascended masters at this time. You are at a crucial point on your journey where you can go beyond all previous setbacks. Well, like I said, ready to learn. And 555, all of your efforts are paying off. Abundance is yours to have, live, and experience. Open up your heart, your arms, and your mind to receive the blessings that are being offered to you now. Yeah, it's a great little book by Kyle Gray, and he is out of the United Kingdom. He's a fairly young, heavily tattooed psychic. Teaches a lot of workshops on Hay House on their website. Hayhouse.com is a really good place for spiritual stuff. Do you follow Hay House, Dave?
Depends on who it is.
Who's your favorite Hay House author?
I had her on as a guest. I got the name on my tip of my tongue.
Is she a medium?
Oh, what the hell was her name?
What kind of readings does she do, or does she do readings?
Well, I don't really do readings on the show anymore. That's the big thing, right?
But your guest that you had from Hay House.
Yeah.
Was she a medical intuitionist?
Yes. Why can I not remember her name?
Is she from the US?
I believe she was from the UK.
Oh. Christine Northrup?
No, it's not her.
I don't know. Somebody from the UK. I don't know. There's a lot of really good, talented people in the UK as well.
Oh, yeah. I got to get you to hold on right there, Paisley, because we are going to break here. Now you're going to bug me for the rest of the show with that question. Forrest Louis, thank you for the super chats ×2. And Cosmic Joe, here we go, everybody. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. I greatly appreciate you making us part of your night listening show. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Paisley Town is here. We have her till the top of the hour on the show to talk about all things weird and strange with numbers, questions, psychic ability, intuition, paranormal, and how to bake a good cheesecake. Yeah, she is a specialty at the cheesecake baking. She's told me herself. Paisley, welcome back.
I don't know anything about cheesecake. That must be your other favorite reader.
I set that up so beautifully. And you make
I don't cook. I like to order out.
All right. I'll change it for next time. Somebody who likes a hot plate of skip the dishes comes to the plate. Paisley Town, everybody.
Thank you, Dave. That was a great intro.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you, Paisley. I appreciate that. We got a bunch of audience questions for you. We're going to continue on with these. Let's go over to Simon. Paisley, do you think psychics will evolve beyond downloads and reading to unlocking abilities in other people at will?
I believe that through healing, the locks fall off. I don't know how else to say it. I work with a lot of readers and a lot of healers. I know about 72 local psychics personally that I've met or that I've worked with or that I've done events with or that have come to my events. And one thing I noticed is a lot of psychics and healers have had to go through a lot of crap in their lives and overcome crazy obstacles. And I think that's what makes them a good reader. Not taking classes at the best schools. And it's not that kind of learning. It's a different kind of learning. It's a empathetic learning.
But do you think there will be a day where maybe not you, but others coming up as we see more and more children becoming spiritually adept at younger ages and parents being a lot more open to the fact that their children are like that? Do you see a day where their own psychic abilities help them enable that in other people quicker, faster?
Well, I feel like that's from a few different things. A, because people are more open to more opportunities, more information. People want to learn. We're not burning people at the stake anymore. Well, at least I hope we're not. We're judging people if they have too much woo. But television and internet and movies they used to give psychics a pretty bad name. Like 20 years ago, I wouldn't use the word psychic to describe myself. I would call myself an intuitive reader. But because TV shows and movies are starting to show us in a better light, I mean, it depends what kind of movie it is. Sometimes it's so ridiculous. And you know, it's probably one of the only industries that gets shown in a disrespected light. I mean, other than politicians. But you don't hear in movies people like putting down dentists or putting down people who work in the lumber industry or putting, you know, you don't hear that in too many industries. So we're having a better reputation and people are more credible. One of the ladies earlier was asking, like, how do you know who's a good reader to go to? I have my photograph on my website. I have my first name on my website. I have my last name on my website. And I've had the same phone number for 27 years, the same phone number. And if somebody's like Psychic Jojo and they don't put their face on their website and they don't put their last name, it's hard for me to trust the credibility of that person, because maybe Psychic Jojo used to sell shoes for a living last week and now she's doing psychic readings. So I put my face on everything. Like, I put my name out there. It's my reputation. It's my name. Paisley is my name.
I like that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I think that's absolutely wonderful that you do that. Let's get you another question from our audience. Let's go to Polly. Is our birth date something random? Actually, we kind of answered that the last half hour. Let's go to another question from Polly. Does it matter if a person changes their name during their life? And does it change the numerology?
Usually it severely changes the numerology. And once in a blue moon, someone will take a name and choose a completely different name. And when I add the numbers together, it's the same, which is really interesting to me. It's because they don't, you know, have a desire to incorporate more life lessons. Like with the name Dave, your life lesson with that name would be to inspire other people, which is what you're doing here on the show. Constantly, every episode, you're inspiring other people.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too
No,
kind.
but don't you agree?
I thought I
Do you
was
agree?
I just thought I was a jerk on the internet.
So the name David is more serious and more, I would say, life lessons of the name David. It's one energy. So it would be a lesson of responsibility and teaching and leading and following the rules. And I would say you don't always follow the rules. So David doesn't suit you. Sometimes you bend the rules, Dave.
Me?
Don't you? Yeah.
No.
Dave, do you speed when you drive your car?
Maybe a little. Not overly, though. Not overly.
Not enough to get caught, right?
You know,
Yeah,
I'm like in Canadian terms and kilometers in the metric system, I'm a 10 to 15 kilometer over kind of guy. I'm not a 20 to 30 kilometer over.
Right. But that's bending the rules, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Someone named David doesn't usually speed, but somebody named Robert will get speeding tickets. Like I can look at someone's birthday and tell you if they get speeding tickets, or tell you if they always speed, or tell you if the passengers in their car fear their life at the speed that they go. It's a good question from Polly about changing someone's name during their lifetime, because actors have come and had readings with me to figure out a name that works well successfully and financially in the industry. So there's certain names that don't match up with certain birthdays. And I've named a few babies already.
Oh, really? What's
And I
that
don't
like?
have any kids. What's that?
What's that like, helping name babies?
It's a little bit stressful, but it's very exciting.
I got a
Yeah.
question for you. Speaking of that, okay, maybe I'm showing my age and my get off my lawn stage that I am in right now. And maybe it's just me, but there's a lot of dumb names that people are naming their kids these days. How does that affect the numerology and the s- the psychic ability of these children coming up?
So names can absolutely influence psychic and healing ability. I would say like there's 3 categories in numerology.
Mhm.
People whose name add up to certain numbers, I call them water numbers. I associate the element with certain numbers. And people who have water numbers are very evidential and psychic. People who have air numbers are very empathetic and compassionate if they're balanced, and creative. And if they're imbalanced, they're sometimes needy or depressed or addictive. And then certain names lead more towards action and motivation. And if they're imbalanced, they lead towards stuckness. And so I'll go back to the water numbers. The water numbers are either like great leaders. They either have a balanced water person will have a good handle on their ego. They'll be humble. And somebody, the downfall of water numbers could be, if the person's not balanced, it could be a lot of ego.
I don't like a lot of these names. That's why I was so happy when my daughter named her son Jasper, because it's a name that it's been around for a while, But I hear some of these names, and you read the names going into, my son's elementary school, and you just shake your names like, are you wanting to get your kid's butt kicked? But I don't know. Maybe I'm superficial that way. Probably am. Don't care, but just an opinion. I know you're rolling your eyes at me right now, so I'll just accept that. Let's go over to Darren, who is asking, did you ever doubt the guidance in the beginning, and has your confidence expanded greatly over time?
Hugely. Even today, still, after being a professional reader for 20 years, sometimes information comes through and I'm like, should I even say that out loud? Yeah. But my confidence has changed a lot. I used to think I was shy, but I just used to not speak up. Now I do stage work and I've done talks in front of a couple hundred people. At your event that you hosted in North Vancouver a few years ago, Dave, when was that? That conference you guys hosted?
My conference up here was in 2018.
2018. So I think there was about 70 people at that conference. And they asked me to come and talk. I thought it was going to be 20 minutes, but they asked me to talk for an hour and a half. So I was pretty freaked out. It's a long time to talk by yourself at a podium.
You are
It was
awesome.
fun.
Let's go to Sierra here. Paisley, what's your take on? We've already answered that question. Never mind. Let's go to Joe. Paisley, you know me. Which fits me better, Joe or Joseph?
Oh, okay. So it depends on your birthday. Because like I've known the name Joe Monk for many years, so it seems smoother to me than Joseph Monk. But it depends what kind of industry you're in and what your birthday is. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 6, 17. Joe Monk is more lucrative than Joseph Monk for sure. Yeah.
Which name gives him better hair? Joseph or Joe?
It's a silly question, Dave.
I know it is, but that's how I roll in this world. You know that. You know that. All right, let me get to another question here for you, Paisley. Let's go to Little Cam over on Twitch. What is your fondest memory from the Two Mediums and a Large show or from Psychic Sundays?
Ooh, little Cam must be one of your first listeners there.
That's old school listening right there.
My fondest memories. Gosh, so many. I can't pick one. That's my answer. I did the show for, I think, about 2.5 years every Sunday for 2 or 3 hours. I don't know. I think it was 9 to midnight back then, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I think my fondest memory, now that I'm thinking of it, I've had a second to think of the question. The other reader, Joanna, she would come up with words when someone would ask a question and she would download the information. She would come up with words from spirit that she did not know the definition of the word in English, because English was not her first language. And to me, that was amazing. So she was repeating the word that they were telling her to tell the client. That was super cool.
Love it. All right, let's go back to Polly. Do numbers have or give energy like crystals?
Oof, I don't know. I can tell you this, depending, like, so I'm not married and I don't have any children. I'm single. And if I'm going to go on a date with someone, I want to know their birthday before I go on a date with them, because I want to know, like, knowing their birthday and their name, their correct name, helps a lot for me to figure out like what their energy is going to be like, just because I know numerology and I know what the 8 energy personalities like, compared to like an 8 energy might be like Mike Tyson energy, someone born on the 26th or the 8th or the 17th. It depends on what the name and the month and the year is, but if they're born on, adds up to 8, that's Mike Tyson. It could be Mike Tyson energy, very intense and kind of like go, 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 and gets speeding tickets, or maybe speeds all the time and doesn't get caught. But that's really different than like a 9 energy, where the person is pretty zen and mellow and kumbaya, if that makes sense.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Simon. Paisley, do you think psychics... Oh, we already asked that. I don't like it when they double up the questions. Sorry about
You
that.
know what? Simon's question was really interesting because he's talking about unlocking abilities. And I remember when I was a little girl and I hated going to the doctors. And I thought, gosh, like, can't we just go to the doctor if we don't feel good and just put like our hand on his wrist, and he should be able to feel what's going on inside our body so we don't have to explain everything? Like, what's with all the words? Like, I really wasn't a communicator when I was young. And so people do lots of healing now and have resolved a lot of serious health issues by using Reiki, which is like putting your hand near someone else to heal them. They use it on animals. They use it on people. Tumors have shrunk. Like, it's been amazing results. So we kind of do that now already. So I want to say the answer is yes.
Love it. All right, let's go to Lisa here. What are the numerology chart categories? How many are there? Life path, soul urge, expression, and what's the other? Destiny number?
Yeah, destiny numbers when you add all the whole birthday together. So the show's not long enough for me to kind of teach what numerology is about. I teach a very simple, basic beginner's class where you wouldn't be able to do a reading when you're done taking the class. And it's a 2.5-hour class that I teach. So it's not something like, there's some really good phone books that you can read about numerology. Some great authors. Hay House has some of them. Glynis McFadden is one. Dan Millman is another great author. There's a lot of books you can read.
That is awesome. We got 3.5 minutes with you left, Paisley. Let's see if we got any more questions. We'll give it to Polly here. Can we heal through numbers, either ourselves or someone else?
Can we heal through numbers? So I have a lot of ones and sixes in my birthday and my name. And there was a period of my life where I wasn't interested in healing myself until I was too miserable, and then I was. So I've kind of reinvented myself several times. And I would say numerology was one of the times, like learning and studying numerology. So I was able to heal myself from some pretty serious addictions that were life-threatening. So I want to say yes. No, learning about my numbers helped me heal. So maybe indirectly, I would say yes.
All right. I think we got time for one more. We can squeeze in one more. Let's go to Darren. You mentioned earlier you don't like seeing fear in others. What is the best way to get rid of all fears? Is it even possible?
I don't know that getting rid of fear is, hey, I think this is my friend, Hedgehog, Darren. He's coming to us from Salem, Oregon. I don't think that getting rid of fear is the right terminology, but I always think there's either fear or there's faith. Or you could say there's fear and there's love. If you think about all the human emotions, they fall into those two categories. Like if someone's anxious and scared, it's fear. Like fear or faith. I always say, and I use this word kind of lately, but I say, like, if you're going to pray, don't worry. And if you're going to worry, don't pray. Pick one. It's like sitting on the fence is not comfortable. So pick a side.
Perfect. Paisley, I think we can sneak one more in here. Let's go to Paramarv. Have you ever doubted something the numbers told you and then found out it to be confirmed correct?
Yes. With people I've dated. Yeah.
Oh, it always comes down to the personal life.
It's kind of an embarrassing answer, but yes, I have.
Do me a favor.
I'm one of those people that I fall in love with the person's potential, not who they are, right? So I'm working on that.
30 seconds. Do me a favor. Tell everybody where they can find you.
My website is paisleytown.com. That's my first name and my last name. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And you got my website, my email's on there, my phone number, everything you need is on there. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Paisley Town. PaisleyTown.com, once again, is her website. So check it on out. And coming up in hour number 3, Steve Stockton will join us for another creepy story. Right after that, Jackie Harmon, the Jacksonator, is here for the Cryptid Report. Stay tuned. Hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio is next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Great job, Paisley.
It was
Great
super
job.
fun. Thank you. It kind of
No
worked out nice that I was available to jump on the show at the last minute.
Oh, I know. We love you. We love you. You take care, okay? We'll talk soon.
Okay, let's do that. Let's get on Zoom and have a cup of tea or coffee or something.
Sounds good, buddy. You take care, okay?
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye now.
Paisley Town, everybody. I love her. She is one of the sweetest people you could ever meet on this planet. Seriously. She's awesome. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, everybody. Oops, spilled on myself. All right. We got 1 minute to go here. Thank you to our super chatters tonight, Joe, Forrest, Louie ×2, and Darren. Greatly appreciate the love and support, everybody. Oh, the pink works well. Blue, oh, see, it looks better on when it's zoomed in. You can actually see the Sasquatch in there, except when it goes bright like that. That blue. Dark blue works good. All right, we got 10 seconds. And here we go. Here we go at the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate you hanging on out with us tonight as we are your evening entertainment of the weird and strange. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on all podcast networks. You can tune us in for free there. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join us on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the Space Travelers Club. Gallianthropy. Gallianthropy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Steve Stockton is here with another weird story. Check it on out. Here it comes.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. In the frozen wilderness of Alaska, where the frigid waters mirror the vast and unforgiving landscape, stories of the kushtaka are etched into the very fabric of indigenous folklore. These elusive creatures, often depicted as shape-shifting ottermen, hold a deep significance in their lore. They are more than just mythical beings. They represent the treacherous dangers that lurk in the Alaskan wilderness, a constant reminder of the fragile balance between survival and succumbing to the elements. The air is crisp and biting, carrying with it the aroma of pine trees and snow. As the wind howls across the tundras, whispers of these enigmatic creatures echo through the icy valleys, inviting both fear and fascination for those who dare to venture into this untamed land. The Tlingit people, who have inhabited southeast Alaska for centuries, hold a rich oral tradition of stories about the kushtaka. These tales are filled with depictions of these mythical creatures as cunning tricksters, their shape-shifting abilities allowing them to manipulate and deceive unsuspecting victims. The chilling descriptions often portray the kushtaka as alluring beings, capable of luring compassionate souls to watery graves with their cries for help. Other accounts paint an even more unsettling picture, where the kushtaka takes on the form of a loved one, mimicking their voice and drawing their unknowing kin towards a dark destiny in the depths of the foggy waters. But the kushtaka's malevolence goes beyond mere trickery. They are said to possess an insatiable hunger, their sharp teeth bared and ready to tear into human flesh. Their eerie cries mimic those in distress, luring unsuspecting victims toward them. Those brave or foolish enough to venture close to the water's edge, especially during the long dark winter months, risk encountering these deadly creatures. Their haunting calls seem all too inviting, but they mask a sinister intent to drag their prey into the depths of the icy waters and devour them whole. Deep in the heart of Alaska, these legends loom large, their haunting warnings echoing through the vast wilderness. They serve as cautionary tales, impressing upon all who listen the crucial importance of respecting the raw power of nature. The sprawling landscape, with its treacherous terrain and ever-changing weather, demands unwavering vigilance and a keen awareness that danger can strike at any moment and in any form. The dense forests and rugged mountains seem to hold secrets, as if whispering ancient tales of those who did not heed nature's warnings. Every step must be taken with care, for even the most experienced travelers know that they are at the mercy of this untamed land. Amidst the turbulent waves and pelting rain, a group of weary fishermen once sought refuge on a desolate island. As night fell and the wind howled fiercely, they huddled around a small fire, their only source of light, warmth, and comfort. But amidst the chaos, they heard the distant cries of a child, carried by the wind from the shoreline. Despite the fear and warnings of his companions, one fisherman could not ignore the call for help. He bravely ventured into the darkness, drawn closer by the desperate pleas. The cries grew louder with each step, leading him further away from safety and deeper into the dark unknown. His comrades waited anxiously, their hearts heavy with worry for his fate. But as the night wore on and his absence stretched longer, their fears turned to dread. With dawn's light came a chilling discovery. Only his footprints remained, leading toward the treacherous waters, a haunting reminder of the kushtaka's cunning and deadly nature. The legend of the kushtaka looms over the Alaskan wilderness like a foreboding shadow, a constant reminder that appearances can be deceiving. Hushed stories and whispered tales passed down from generation to generation, a testament to the enduring power of oral tradition. In this unforgiving land, where survival can be a daily struggle, this knowledge was essential for future generations in order to thrive. These mysterious creatures, whether real or merely figments of imagination born from folklore and the harsh realities of life in Alaska, continue to haunt the collective consciousness. Their enigmatic presence adds an unsettling layer of mystery to the already treacherous landscape, the legends woven into the very fabric of the land.
Thank you to Steve Stockton from Tales Untold for another weird story. You want more just like that, head on over to his YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, ring that bell. They're all free for you to tune on in. From the weird and strange to the mysterious in the mountains and forests, Jackie Harmon is here with the Cryptid Report. There we go. Jackie Harmon with the Cryptid Report hanging on out with us. The music is played. It is showtime for the monsters among us.
That's right. I'm good. How are you? You look tired.
I am tired. And I will say that I have not recovered from the weekend, from being out in the forest and being forced to evacuate due to monsters, not forest fires, not thunderstorms, not heavy rain, monsters. Monsters. It's
we had a very similar experience, so I understand.
I heard that for people who missed out, you could go to our YouTube channel and you can talk to Jackie Harmon and catch her and Lee Strauss's brand new show on our YouTube channel called Element 115. And I'm hearing that you guys had one hell of a time in the tent. And I'm not saying together.
No.
I'm saying on the outside of the tent while you were stuck inside. What happened?
Right. Oh my God, Dave. It was insane. It was literally activity from the second we arrived, but late that night, when just before we actually got in the tent, we were looking down the road. We had this little device that obviously, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say, like, thermal. Like, I can't even think of what am I trying to say here. Um, but we could like see down the road in the dark, and like my brain's like drawing a blank. But anyway, we're watching something stand there. Okay. And I know Lee's watching this tomorrow going like, this is what it is. This is what it is. Say, but we could see something standing at the end of this like short little dirt road right before we, decided to go to bed. And we walked down there and you could see it. Um, and we were detecting like heat signature, and it looked like a head and the body, the arms, the legs, the whole bit. Like it literally looked just like a huge person standing there. So when we walked down, we kept getting closer and closer and closer. And then all of a sudden, as we get as close as we can possibly get, it fades out, like as if it just disappeared right in front of us. So at that point, we were like, okay, well, we stood there for a few minutes and decided, well, we'll go back. Well, it was really late, and activity got like silent, like deadly silent. Okay. So at that point, Lee's like, there's no activity. I'm tired. Let's go lay down and get some rest. So we go and we get in this tent that I am super not comfortable with, because it's one of those tent style tents that's like above the ground. And so I'm going to guess he had it probably 4 feet above the ground. And what it does, it looks like a triangle looking thing. And it's like those moving straps where you attach them to the trees. Okay. So it's like holding it really strongly. I've never been in one, so I had anxiety about getting up in something that could fall to the ground. And like he's like, "Oh no!" and he's bouncing around in it, and I'm like, "Please don't do that. I like really don't want to do that. It's giving me anxiety." So I hadn't even adjusted myself to this tent yet, and so I'm like, "Okay, lay still. Let me get comfortable, so I'm okay." Well, it wasn't even 2 minutes. We were in this tent, and I literally just laid my head back, and I'm trying to relax my body with all this anxiety of this new spaceship tent I'm laying in. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we hear it sounds like a massive tree like gets picked up and thrown into our camp. We immediately just laid there silent and looked at each other. And the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, well, it's here. And maybe it's the same thing we were down there looking at, or I don't know, maybe it's another one, but something's definitely letting us know it's here. So we laid there silent for maybe about a minute or two, 3 minutes, whatever. And we thought, nothing, no footsteps, like literally dead silent. You couldn't hear a breath. You couldn't hear a grunt, a whoop, a tree knock, a whistle. I mean, dead silent. It apparently walked from where it threw the tree all the way to our tent. We never heard it. We never heard anything. And all of a sudden, about maybe, 2, 3 minutes had gone by, and all of a sudden, you could tell it took its hand and went, and it hit the strap that was holding up the tent in the back of the tent. So now this is the tent's like shaking. I'm still not even comfortable yet with being in this thing. I'm anxiety filled being in this spaceship tent. Okay. And so I'm laying there now and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, I need to be as silent as I can. It is standing right outside of our tent. And I don't know what's going on with Lee, but he is like wanting to talk to me. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, shh, be quiet. Like, stop talking. The thing's like right there. It knows we're here. Okay. It watched us get in here and now we're trapped. And that's the thing I'm thinking is, oh my God, we're trapped in here, right? That thing could literally rip us apart in a flat second. And so Lee decides he's got this like little foghorn thing. He's going to take the horn. And so he goes, ah, and this horn is extremely loud. And he's like, okay. I horned it. I'm sure it'll leave. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't even believe you think that thing's going to scare this thing off. But okay. And so we're laying there, and once again, it goes dead silent. And like, I'm thinking, like, okay, we didn't hear it walk up. You can't smell anything. Like, it's nothing, no noise, no anything, like zero noise, silence. And we know it's there. We don't know how it gets there, but it got there. And we know it's still standing there. So when he blows this horn, he's thinking, oh, it went away. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you're insane if you think that thing's going to walk away, right? It knows we're in here. It watched us get in. And I don't know what it wants, but it wants us out apparently. And so we're laying there. And like I said, a couple of minutes goes by. And then all of a sudden, we feel this arm. Now, I felt it in a different way than Lee felt it. Lee was on the side of the tent. Now we're laying on this about 2 to 3 inch little soft mattress thing in this tent. The tent is like paper thin. And then this little foam thing's about this thick with your body weight on it. You're pretty much at the bottom with 2 of us on it. And so all of a sudden, this hand comes underneath the tent, starts down at my feet, and it's literally going like this, squeezing my leg, my butt, my back, my head. I mean, it went all the way up my body. And I now am laying there. My heart feels like it's going to jump out of my body. I started shaking, like out of control shaking. I literally began having a massive panic attack because I knew what was happening. I could feel its hand literally around the whole left side of my body. Now, Lee could feel this part of the arm underneath him, and it went up once, it went back down, and it went back up a third time before it let go. But when it was on his arm, I'm assuming it's male, but I could feel how massive the hand was. It
How
was
big was
so
the hand?
huge. Do what?
How big was the hand?
Well, okay, so my hand, if I put my hand around my leg, it only goes so far, okay? So I could feel, because I could feel where it was grabbing me as it was going up my leg, and you could feel it went all the way around every part that it was grabbing, like it was nothing, okay? Like it had a hand around my leg, not like the bottom part of my leg and you squeeze like the leg. It could literally probably touch its own fingers going around, and it would squeeze and squeeze like it was trying to figure out, like, where are you, what part. I don't know what it was thinking, but in my mind I'm thinking, this thing is literally squeezing me every inch of going up. And it was almost like the arm would glide. Okay, it wasn't like a human where you go squeeze, move, squeeze, move. It was like a squeeze and a glide. And it just felt like not normal and massive. And I just laid there thinking, dear God, like I know exactly what's going on. And I want to be dead silent because I'm thinking to myself, the worst things on earth, this thing could grab me and pull me down through that tent and in a split second. So I'm laying there, and for whatever reason, all of a sudden, Lee decides he wants to move around. Okay. And I'm still physically getting grabbed by this hand. And I just look at him and I go, "Lee, still." Like I'm like freaking out. And I'm just like, God, please just stop moving. And I'm like begging him with my whisper, but I'm thinking, if I get loud, this thing's gonna hear me and grab me. And so it finally stops, and up the third time it went up, it let go. And now it's standing there, and here's Lee trying to move around. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to murder this man. If Bigfoot doesn't murder us, I'm going to murder Lee. because I knew right then and there what was going on. And I couldn't figure out why he would move around. I thought, why is he moving? Lay still. That thing is literally touching us. Like, don't move. And so come to find out, here I am, like full on the worst panic attack I could ever imagine. And I'm not one to have panic attacks. Okay. Like, I'm very comfortable being in the woods, and all the Bigfoot years that I've been out doing stuff, I've never, ever had an incident where I had a panic attack. This pushed me over my edge. It pushed me over my limit. I was no longer comfortable. I wasn't okay. And the minute I thought that thing was gone, which we never heard it walk away, it could have been standing there all night for all we know. I looked at Lee and I said, that's it. I'm done. I want to go home. I want to go home now. I don't care if it's the middle of the night. I want to get out. I was like, I was done. Okay. And anyone who knows me knows that that's my special place to go. That's my favorite thing in the world to do. And I was ready to pack it up and get out. So we ended up laying in that tent until 6 a.m. But let me tell you something, Dave, that activity from the second after that happened was non-stop. We heard chatter, talking, wood knocks, whistles, whoops, and then we could hear we had 3 tents. The tent style was the one that we were in, which is the floating one. We had a regular octagon tent off to the side that we used for like changing clothes and stuff and storing things. And then we had another tent that was covering like all of our kitchen stuff and all of his gear in the truck. So we had a pretty good like size camp. Well, for hours, you could hear footsteps walking around us all the way around the camp. Like, they were letting us know we're here and we're not leaving. And the conversation that was going on was just hours and hours of just like
What
the
did that
whole
sound
Bigfoot.
like?
You know how you have the chatter that you hear from like Ron Moorhead, where it's like very high pitched, like it sounds like a Muppety kind of high pitched sound. This one was like low toned, very mumbly, like like very, yeah, yes, very like very, very low. And I kept waiting. And the weird thing was, I don't even think we even mentioned this when we were on the show the other night, but Ron Moorhead actually sent us all of the audio, and we played it a couple hours before we went to bed. So I don't know if they heard this and, maybe understand what they're saying, and maybe something's, because I actually believe that the audio sounds like one Bigfoot's in distress. Like, one's actually getting in trouble and the other one's kind of yelling at it. And if you listen to it, that's exactly what it sounds like. And so I told Lee, we were actually talking about it earlier. I said, I feel like maybe it heard the audio, thinks that we somehow have their language, and they got real curious about, like, why do you have our language? Because how are they going to understand, like, this audio came out of a speaker? But we played it really loud. So here we are. I stayed up the entire night till 6 a.m. and it was still going on till 6 o'clock in the morning. It did not stop. It never stopped.
Oh my gosh. Jackie, hold that right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour on Spaced Out Radio. What's it like to be groped by a pervert Bigfoot? Jackie Harmon has the details of what that's like. I'm not even laughing. I'm not even laughing. For my weekend with Sasquatch, I am not laughing. Jackie Harmon returns right after this for the Cryptid Report.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right. I wasn't scared on Sunday until our outdoors guard, Mark, my buddy,
Mhm.
when he had this look that I've never seen on his face before
Mm.
that said, "It's time to go. We have to go now." And he will say he wasn't scared, but I could tell that there was probably some poo in his pants. Okay. And I'm joking and facetiously when I say that,
Yeah.
but like
It's
I'm
intense.
emotional about it, to be blunt, trying to wrap
Mhm.
my thoughts. I don't know what you're feeling right now, but if it's anything like me,
Mhm.
it's
It's intense. It's intense. I've even used the word PTSD to Lee. I think
yeah,
I might have a little. It's true.
it's an intensity that
Mhm.
um you have to take it. You
Yeah.
know you have to take it. You know that you have to be there for it,
Mhm.
but you have to think also, is your life worth it?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
hi, Philip Blair, how you doing? And this one that was stalking us,
Mhm.
it got probably within 20 yards of us as it moved through the trees and around our encampment.
Mhm.
Um, one thing I didn't tell in my story, when we were pulling out, we got two blaring whistles. Now, the shitty part for me was when we pulled out, I had my window open, and as soon as the whistles hit, I heard something as my tires were going into a puddle.
Oh.
So I hit the puddle. Um, I hit the puddle, and that splash on the vehicle drowned out. But Samantha and Merle and Richie, our cameraman, had the heard the whistles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I know how you're feeling right now. I fully 1,000,000% understand it. Like the fact that you guys like packed up and left. Um, I haven't even had a chance to even talk to you about it, but when we the next morning, I made Lee wrap it up. I was like, listen, I said, as much as I love, and I literally love doing Bigfoot stuff, I was done with that moment in that time of that location. I was like, we're packing it up.
I
Really.
think I think Lee, because Lee didn't know we were filming this weekend. I
Mhm.
think he was hoping for an invite up to come up because he questioned Merle, "Hey, do you have?" I think it was, "Do you have any room uh, or are you guys going out to that place this weekend?" And Merle kind of felt like Lee was kind of hoping that if we weren't filming, that he could pop up, right? Like
Yeah.
normally we would have been like, "Yeah, get your ass up here." But because we were filming, we had to kind of keep it a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what? What's thinking about that though? The first two nights we were in the tent out there,
Mhm.
nothing happened. And the
Wow.
second night, Richie, our cameraman, literally, we finished filming. We wrapped everything up at about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
Nothing, nothing.
Wow.
We were getting some stuff on a ghost box,
Mm.
but no, there was no feeling of cryptids there. You know what I mean when I say they have a feeling to them.
Mhm.
They
They do.
completely have a feeling, and
Yes.
it is an anxiety type rush.
It is.
Like your stomach is freaking turning, but in the meantime, your head's like, go for it. Let's do this. Yeah, this is what we've been waiting for, right?
Yeah.
Jax, hold
Yeah.
on right there. We got about 7 seconds here, okay? Thank you to
Okay.
Darren, Louis times 2, and Cosmic Joe for the super chats. And here we go. What's it like to be groped by Bigfoot in Washington State? Jackie Harmon will be with us here momentarily after a very, very interesting encounter with Sasquatch just a couple weekends ago. We'll find out more about it here momentarily. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you've been listening to this show or you're listening to others, you can always find our archives for free on YouTube at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Jackie Harmon is here talking about her amazing encounter with Sasquatch at near Mount Adams in Washington State just 2 weekends ago, where literally in the middle of the night, a Sasquatch came up to their tent, shoved his big, strong arms and his giant hand underneath the tent, and was literally grabbing Jackie's body. Now, Jackie, a lot of people will sit there and say, oh, Jackie, you probably had an overactive imagination, and it was probably some other camper or hunter playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
But there's more to this story. There was chatter all around, heavy footsteps all around.
Yeah.
What amazes me is how heavy they walk. They can walk silently, but if
Yes.
they want you to know they're there, they will put a thud in their footsteps.
Yep. They sure do. And we heard them. Like it was, like I said, it was weird because the one we saw at the end of the road was there 1 minute. We get close and it's gone. And then literally minutes after seeing what we see it, and then I don't know if it cloaks itself, it walks away. I don't know how it happens, but it goes from, and we have proof, we have this on video. And, it's there 1 minute, gone the next. And literally by the time we get back to camp, 2-3 minutes max later, a huge tree is getting picked up and thrown into our camp. Like, it's just like, okay. And we were actually listening to audio today, and I was telling Lee, we were listening to the one of us walking down and watching. We're actually going to share that with you guys on Friday. And you can hear footsteps walking like it's going past us. And we couldn't hear that at the time at all, but you can hear it, And I said, Lee, I hear footsteps walking right past us. And I didn't hear that at the time. So that's crazy. Like that we're getting that now. The strange thing was we had trail cams that were messed with, turned off. We had one, you could physically hear it being opened, unlocked, open, and click, click, like a camera. Audio that would be turned off right before all the major activity, certain things that we had, like as if something walked in and wiped it out, shut it off. But the fact that the nice thing about going through something like this with someone is that you're not crazy. You went through this. If no one on earth believes this story, I'm totally okay with that. It doesn't really bother me or affect me in any way. I know for a fact what I went through, what Lee felt, what we both went through. And, it wasn't fun. And like I said, in that moment, my body shook like uncontrollably for hours. I couldn't get control of my legs. They wouldn't stop shaking. My heart was pounding so hard. I thought it was going to come out of my chest. At one point, I was thinking, Jesus, I'm going to have to get out of here, go to the hospital. I'm having this horrible, massive panic attack. And it's like I said, I never slept 1 ounce. And I just laid there listening to all this activity. And Lee heard it too. He heard the walking going around, the tent getting slapped. Well, after all this happened, I'll tell you a funny part in just a second that we haven't even mentioned yet. But the next morning, once it's daylight and, I feel comfortable enough to get out of the tent as well as Lee, we got out and we started walking around and doing a video talking about like what happened to us. And we were like, okay, well, this is where we heard that. And this is where we heard this. And this is, so you hear us talking about exactly what happened. And that's when I said to him, why did you move around? I go, did you not feel the arm like moving up and down? I said, why would you move when it was touching us? And he goes, oh my God. He goes, I kept thinking to myself, God, what is that moving? And he thought it was something like the mattress was like adjusting itself or moving. He said, I could feel something with pressure moving the mattress like up once, down again, and back up. And I said, that wasn't the mattress, Lee. That was the arm and the hand grabbing my left side of my butt. I still have bruises. I'm not kidding you. Up and down the left side of my body, it grabbed and squeezed so hard. I still have bruises up my leg from where it grabbed me and just kept squeezing and squeezing. And, and every time I look at them, it's just that reminder of like, I'm just happy I'm alive. Like, I don't know, maybe it didn't mean any harm. Maybe it just was curious or wanted us to come out. I don't know. But the fact that it never once made like a noise of fear to us makes me wonder, like, did it just want us to come back out? I don't know. And now I'm like constantly talking to Lee saying, what do you think it wanted? Do you think it was just curious about like who we were? Do you think it was the chatter? I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I'm going to tell you guys a funny part that Lee and I laugh about, and I haven't shared with anybody, but I'll share it with you guys tonight, was literally hours of us laying here and me shaking and literally thinking like, I'm going to die any minute. I had to pee so bad, but there was no way on God's green earth I was getting out of that tent at that moment. Okay. I'm like, there's no way. So I kept telling Lee, I have to go pee so bad. I'm literally about to pee myself. I am not getting out of this tent. I said, so whatever we have in this tent, I'm peeing in it. Well, we basically had like nothing in there except one little baggie, like a Ziploc baggie. And I was like, give it to me. I literally threw everything out of it and I peed in that Ziploc baggie. And you know what the crazy thing was? I felt like, you ever heard the saying like it scared the pee out of me? That's what I was going through. I felt like my body was like, it just had to go. I was like, I was so freaked out. I had to go. So I fill up this baggie and I say, throw that outside. And so we throw it outside. And I'm thinking to myself, if there's a thing out there, if anything's out there, it's probably now got my like DNA. And everybody who knows me knows it's like a long time joke about me peeing outside. So it's not helping. I still have to go. So I tell Lee, that's it. I'm not getting out. I'm going to take my PJs off. I'm just going to pee in my PJs. And then I'm going to throw those out. So I do that. And I throw that out. And I swear to you, I kid you not. I know it's funny now, but it wasn't at the time. I could have gone like another 2 gallons worth. I just couldn't stop going. And I thought, what's wrong with me? Seriously, what is physically wrong with me right now? I don't know. It was insane. But at the moment I was miserable, but now we laugh about it. So, there's that.
Wow.
He's probably gonna be like, I can't believe you shared that.
Well, you know what? But this is the reality of when
Mhm.
you are there. What do you think would have happened if you opened up the tent?
When it was standing there,
Yeah.
oh God, Dave, I've thought about this 1,000 times since I've come home. You know, I think that I think it would have still been there. I think it stayed there standing next to us for quite a while. Um, it had some very weird curiosity about me. Lee and I both agree on that. Um, I don't know if it would have grabbed me or if it would have just looked at me and left, but it definitely had a lot of curiosity about us. And he keeps saying it's all me, it's curiosity about me, but I don't know why it's just me. But I don't know. It's like I can't come up with an answer for what would it do if I had come outside. And I actually told Lee, I wish we had never gone to lay down. When I'm normally on a, Bigfoot hunt, research, whatever you guys want to call it, okay? I normally don't sleep during the night. I normally stay up all night, and that's when I do like majority of my trying to connect with them. They seem to come out a lot more around me, at least during the night. And I just wanted to communicate with them as much as I could possibly do. And the fact that like I went in that tent, I felt like I was trapped. And once I knew it was standing right next to us, and the fact that I didn't have my normal protection that I have when I go places, it was just Lee had something and not me, it put me in a very uncomfortable state of mind. I was not in any way, shape, or form in that moment okay with being in there. I wanted out. And a couple times I thought about getting out, but then I kept thinking, no way am I getting out. It's going to be standing there. And I wasn't processing things properly, going through a panic attack yet, which is really strange because I did find myself trying to talk myself down from the panic attack. And I would think, okay, Jackie, you're okay. Nothing's happened. It hasn't grabbed you. It didn't scream. It hasn't even really technically made a noise outside of throwing the tree and hitting the tent strap. Outside of that, no breath, no grunting, no I mean nothing, zero, not even a smell. That was the weirdest part for me was like where there's zero smell. Like nothing. That was so strange for us because I thought, how is it that close to us? And we smell nothing. Now, if it was a bear, okay, I grew up in California where when you camp up in the mountains, there's bear everywhere. Okay. And I'm very used to being around bear. When bears come around, you can hear them. You can hear what they sound like. They all make those grunting, as they walk along. Okay. This thing was dead silent. It was eerie silent. And like I said, when it was done, I said to Lee, now I was okay by the time it was daylight. I was like, okay, I'm going to get out and I'm going to go walk around and I'm going to gather our stuff and I'm going to get myself together and then I'm going to pack and we're out of here. So when I first told him, we're packing up, we're leaving, we're going to go to a different location, I could tell he was bummed out, but I thought to myself, you go as a team, you have to stay as a team. And if one team member isn't comfortable, even if you're feeling different, you got to go with what that other person's feeling. If there's a gut feeling that something's wrong and you don't belong there or you're not comfortable, you got to go. So when I told him, look, we got to pack up, we're going to move to a different location, I could tell, like I said, he was bumming out. But by the time we got everything packed up and took off and found a new location, everything was really good. I thought things were great. At the new location, I really liked the area. We were way closer to the mountain. I thought this is going to be great for a new, the UFO live show we're going to do because now we'll be able to see the mountain better in the cameras. Well, everything was great that day. We had a great day. We did hear a couple tree knocks when we first arrived. Outside of that, it was just a beautiful, calm, lovely day. And so we enjoyed the day there. And then by the end of the night, we did the live, and that was with Rob G. And then we went on live one more time after we got off with him. And it was the weirdest feeling, like all of a sudden, as the last live went off, it was probably around 12:40 in the morning. All of a sudden, I had this feeling of just straight dread, like we were going to be harmed, like something was going to come out of the woodwork and get us.
Yep.
I felt sick to my stomach. It was really, really messing with me because I went from like walking around for hours all day and all night, perfectly fine. And the second that feeling hit me, I told Lee, and I could see it in his eyes, like, you got to be kidding me. We're leaving again. And I said, we're packing up and we're going. And he goes, wait, what? No, it's 12:40 and we got all this equipment and stuff to take apart and pack up. And he looks at me and goes, no, it's fine. It's fine. Let's just go in the tent. And I'm thinking to myself, you're out of your mind if you think I'm about to endure this again. And so then about maybe 2 or 3 minutes goes by, and then all of a sudden Lee goes, oh my God, I feel it now. He goes, I'm feeling that exact same feeling of complete dread, like something's going to come out and harm us. And I'm not kidding you. I couldn't find enough flashlights. I had a beanie on with the light. I had a flashlight. I had a laser, and I was scanning those trees like this for like an hour and a half to 2 hours as we were packing. I'm scanning, packing, scanning, packing. I couldn't get comfortable to save my life. I felt like that for hours.
That's the feeling we had on Sunday night when we were being stalked. And you can feel their tension when they say it's time to go. It's like they turn on this energy vortex that they push onto you that said, okay, I've had enough. It's time for you to leave. You're not wanted
Exactly.
here anymore. And that's exactly like when I saw my friend Mark, our armed guard in that area, and he could hear it. We were all concentrating on filming. The other four of us, myself, Merle, Samantha, and Richie, our cameraman, we're concentrating on filming an experiment. But Mark is just on the outside of our tent listening to this thing following through the trees. And then finally, when it got probably within 20 yards, Mark had this look on his face of uncomfortability. And he literally looked at us. We had paused. He looked at us and he says, pack up. It's time for us to go. We're not wanted. And excuse me. I have a 2-door Jeep Wrangler. It took us 3 trips to our vehicle and back. Getting in there, we packed it all up in one. Okay. One. And Mark stayed, we got to the exit point. Mark, Samantha, and Richie stayed there until I came back, which was literally going into a gully, up the gully. Here's the scary part.
Wow.
Merle and I go in first, or leave first. I'm driving my Jeep. Merle is in the passenger seat. We've got all the equipment. Okay. And we go into the gully, come out of the gully up to where Samantha's truck is parked. And the ghost that Merle saw on Friday when we first arrived there is sitting in the passenger seat of Samantha's truck.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Now, this is about 140 yards away from where it was supposed to be. Maybe a little bit longer. No, I would say
Wow.
longer. Pardon me. Probably 200 yards. Okay.
Mm.
And I had to leave him there in the dark alone.
Oh,
I had to get everybody else. Okay. So
that's
he
scary.
literally turned the vehicle on, locked himself inside the vehicle, and he could hear voices and rattling all around the vehicle. And we were only gone for maybe 4 minutes. 4 terrifying
Wow.
minutes for Merle on our way out.
Wow.
So I know exactly how you're
Mhm.
feeling. That when they want you out, they will stir everything up that's in that area to get
Mm.
you out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm
I hear what you're saying, and I was going to tell you something that we actually had one of those ghost box things that says the words on it.
yes.
And the funniest part was when he first turned it on, I was watching it, and the whole weekend I kept saying I wanted ice. Literally all weekend long, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had ice. I'm a huge ice person.
We got 30
And
seconds.
I kept saying, this is crazy, this thing. And it said, woman, ice. And then the very next thing it said was, it's evil. And I
We're
thought, I hope that's not towards us.
Jackie, we got to talk about this a little bit more when you are on again next week. Okay.
Absolutely.
And we're going to continue this conversation as we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.
Night, guys.
I'm like crapping my pants for you right now.
Dave, I've never experienced anything
How did you
so
hold it together?
frightening.
Because I know with what I experienced this weekend,
Yeah.
there are many times over the last few days that I have just wanted to cry. Like out of fear, cry.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's weird because, and I'm not gonna lie, I do a lot of crazy things. I do. Okay. And I'm like you. I'm stupid enough to go back. But you know, I say, I mean, I'm not calling you stupid, but you know what I'm saying.
I know
Um,
exactly what you're saying.
I I was scared out of my flippin' mind. In that moment, It felt like the worst thing I'd ever endured. It was frightening. Um, you don't know if it's there. You don't know if it walked off. You don't know if it's going to hurt you. You don't know its intentions. Like I said, I'll be honest with you guys. I am in no way feeling uncomfortable telling you guys the truth that I full blown freaked out. I had a massive panic attack over this, and it was horrific. It was by far one of the worst things I have ever gone through. And I laid there. It felt like the whole night lasted a month because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't calm down. I couldn't stop shaking. It was just awful. Every ounce of that night felt like like I was living in a live nightmare. And I didn't want to get out of fear of like the what ifs, you know? What if it's standing there? What if it grabs me? I didn't know what to think. So, yeah, it was a hard one for me. And when I first got home, I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Like, I'm not sure I want to put myself in that position anymore of like, especially being in that tensile tent. That for me was pure hell. I didn't like it from the get-go. But I've thought about it, and Lee and I've talked about it, and I really do feel like if I was in horrible danger, something horrible would have happened. It has the strength, obviously, to just do anything it wants. We could have killed us and wiped us out in a flat second, we'd be dead. The fact that it didn't, I think, is the only thing, and the fact that it stayed quiet. It didn't do that. You know how everybody explains that Bigfoot sighting where it's like, and then it screamed and I could feel it in my soul. It was like this guttural scream. And we didn't have that. We didn't have that. It was
We didn't
dead silent. Do what?
We didn't have that either.
Yeah, none of that. None of that. And
Did they leave you anything?
we looked around and I wondered if there was something there that maybe we didn't really like notice before. But I think because of the mindset that I was in, I was so ready to just pack it up and roll out that I'm not sure. It may have happened because we put a lot of gifts out. We did fruit. We did marbles. We had like really colorful things laying out, even like glow in the dark sticks and trees. And the only thing it left me was confused and wanting to leave.
So
Yeah,
for us, I'm not sure if you heard
yeah.
us, we packed up camp on Sunday morning. We got nothing on Friday and Saturday. None of our previous experiments worked. We could feel things off in the distance, but there was nothing up close and personal. So one thing that did happen was that we packed up on Sunday morning and we had to go back to SOR HQ here to charge up all the batteries because our batteries were dead. Okay, like everything was dead. And so we decided we were going to head back out about 5 o'clock to the area. It takes about an hour to get out there because, you don't do logging roads at 40, 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, unless
right?
you're Lee.
And so we got out there, we set up camp. First thing that happens is we finally get all set up and we end up getting caught in a thunderstorm. But all the energy from the time that we got there, all of us, even Richie, our cameraman, who doesn't believe in any of this shit, but just thought it would be interesting to shoot. Okay. Even he was picking up that it felt different out there for when we went back. And
Yeah.
so it started with after we waited out the thunderstorm,
Uh-huh.
and we ended up after the thunderstorm, I felt really strong energy down the trail that we just came in on. And coincidentally, it was the exact same spot where a year ago I had, or Samantha and I had picked up on the ET energy in that exact same spot. So I
Wow.
called Samantha over and
Uh-huh.
I said, Samantha, because I trust Samantha. And I said, Samantha, do you feel this? And she was like, well, I feel something, but not very strong. In the meantime, I am full on goosebumps from the waist up. Every hair on my body is standing up.
Uh-huh.
So I walk in there
Uh-huh.
and I am like, okay, hello, how are you? I'm here to say hello. You're obviously, trying to start the small talk to make them comfortable. Okay. They don't show us anything, the jerks. So imagine a 90-degree angle. We're up
Uh-huh.
here. Okay. If exit is to the right, is this way, we got to go this way. So we get about
Mm.
halfway in this area here is where I'm feeling everything.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So we come down the trail, we make a left, and you could feel it, whatever it was, following us through the trees. Okay. Now
Yeah.
with my tinnitus, I can't really hear it. Merle,
Okay.
though, is hearing it move with us in the trees.
Mhm.
And that's where Samantha found the first print.
Mhm.
Okay. So Mark, our armed guard, who is an outdoors expert, he'll never call himself an expert. I'll call him an expert because he's just absolutely amazing in the forest with finding footprints. Doesn't matter what
That's
the animal.
awesome.
Okay. He was baffled by it. He's like, that isn't a bear. Because we continued down that trail and the energy that we were picking up started to move away. And as we continued on, there was bear energy of a bear in the forest. And sure enough, we could hear the sounds that a bear makes. And
Yep.
there's fresh bear tracks on the trail.
Mhm.
Okay, so intuition, once again, is correct. We head back towards base camp. We passed the first print. We marked it where it was. Okay.
Uh-huh.
We get back to base camp. We set up for the shoot on what we were doing. Mark is patrolling around the area. Now remember, we had torrential rain for about 35 to 45 minutes, along with an hour-long thunderstorm. Okay. That washes everything away.
Yeah, it does.
So we were gone for about 20 minutes, get back to base camp, and that's where Mark now finds another track 10
Ooh.
feet from our tent.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So Mark is like, I don't believe this. I don't believe this, because it was the first track. He had seen another couple tracks before, but this was the
Uh-huh.
first one he had ever found.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah. So we hold on one second, Jax.
Dave Scott.
Weird. Where did Phineas is asking, where did I get the alien plush doll? Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're good. Never mind. I thought, hold on. 1 hour. Hold on here. I'm screwed up here for a
You're
second.
fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good now. Sorry. All right. So I take Merle's vlogging camera and I know the trail this thing exited on. Because as we were walking back up to camp, I was starting to pick up the energy again. And the goosebumps were starting and the hair raising all over my body was starting again. I'm like, it's behind our camp. It's behind our camp. And that's where Mark found the 17-inch left footprint of the track heading towards behind our camp. So right before that, Mark and Samantha go back to the other track to measure it.
Mhm.
And that one is 17 inches to the T.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
now finding two tracks the exact same size is
Mhm.
rare. Rare.
It is very rare.
And so Samantha and I grab Merle's vlogging camera and we're going to go down this trail a little bit, maybe 30 feet down this
Mhm.
trail. And there's a piece of debris from the plane crash there. And coincidentally, that's the exact same area where Merle got scared out in 2018. The creature had snuck up on him.
Whoa.
And Samantha says to me, she goes, Dave, what is this? And right along the tree is this 7 to 7.5 foot long, straight as an arrow stick leaning up against this tree.
Hmm.
Merle has checked the footage because we shot a lot in that area.
Mhm.
That stick is not there.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It is not there.
So that's new.
So here's the other interesting part. About 3 feet from the ground, there is like a grip mark on it, a greasy grip mark. The rest of the staff, I'm going to call it a staff,
Mhm.
is dry.
Oh,
If that staff was against that tree during a torrential downpour, what would happen? It would get wet.
yeah. It'd be
This
soaking wet.
This thing was dry as a bone,
Wow.
except for the area that looked like it was being gripped, Jackie.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Totally
That's
crazy.
really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we grabbed the stick, we placed a gift back because I personally think, and this is my own theory, that
Mhm.
Sasquatch in there recognized Merle and
Mm.
left him an I'm sorry present for scaring you the last time.
Oh, wow.
So we left it a gift. We left a dime. Okay. Oh, here's the other thing about the staff.
Huh?
It looked like it had been twisted and rooted from the ground
Oh, wow.
completely. And at the bottom of that twist, there was fresh dirt on the bottom of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Someone had been using like a walking stick.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So Merle has it.
That's
We gave it to Merle because that was the area where it happened to him. And we figured, you know what? This
yeah.
has to be, hey, let's bygones be bygones. But we had the feeling that there were 4 to 5
Yeah.
around us.
So did
All of
we.
us had that feeling.
Yeah,
And
same.
But it was funny because Mark picked it up. And Mark picked up that there seemed to be one that's energy was different from the others.
Mm. Mm.
Excuse me. It almost felt more aggressive, like, what the hell are you doing in my territory? I'm not going to do anything to you, but if you piss me off, I'm going to let you know. And Mark feels that that was the guy who eventually chased us out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When you're,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it's like to have a gun pulled on me. I don't know what
Mhm.
it's like to be robbed. I hope it never happens.
Mhm.
Okay. But when you're the hunter who is now being hunted,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
that
scary.
messes with your mind.
It
Big,
does.
right? Like, I got one guy at my daytime job. He's been a hunter for
Yeah.
30 years, never seen anything, does not believe in Bigfoot whatsoever. Okay.
Okay.
I told him this story today. I said,
Mhm.
look, I said, I know you're not going to believe me. Frankly, I don't care. I said, but
Same.
you know Mark, and you know what kind of an outdoors guy he is. He goes, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I said, Mark found the print.
Yeah.
And I said, Mark is freaked out about it. Mark will
Mhm.
deny that he was scared, you know, because it's his job to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I saw the look on his eyes, and Richie, our cameraman, him and I were talking about that today, about the look
Mhm.
on his eyes.
Yeah. When you have an experience that you're not used to, it's hard. It's a hard thing to process at first. It can scare you really bad, but when you're feeling the energy and it's not good energy, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a real tough one. And that's something that, and I told Lee too when we were at the, not even the first location, but the second location, when he had that feeling come over him of total dread, I told him, I said, I'm glad you felt it, because I felt like he thought I was making it up because I just didn't want to be there anymore because of what I had gone through the first night. And that wasn't true at all. I was actually really looking forward to staying that night and seeing what we could catch with the whole UFO side of it. That just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, we were perfectly fine. Now, just out of nowhere, here it comes. And you can't explain that feeling. It just comes over you like, I need to get out. Something's telling me I don't belong here. It doesn't want us here. And if we stay, something bad's going to happen or could happen. And that's exactly what I told him. And I said, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not staying here. And if you decide to get in that tent, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to drive down the hill and I'll come get you tomorrow. I'm not staying up here. And he knew I was dead serious. I'm like, I'm going. And we packed up and we left probably like, I'd say it's probably 2:45 in the morning when we finally pulled out. And we had to drive 3.5 hours to get home. But to me, it was worth it. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. When you get that feeling, you follow that gut feeling and you go. And I had already just endured what we went through the first night and never in a million years expected to ever have an experience like that. I've been doing this for 50 years. That was my birthday trip of basically my 50-year anniversary of doing Bigfoot stuff. For people out there who don't know this, I started this on my fourth birthday. My dad took me out the very first time on my fourth birthday, and I just turned 54 in June. So, it was like this massive anniversary, crazy Bigfoot experience that I'm still trying to fully process. I'm not sure I'll ever 100% ever feel completely comfortable, but I'm willing to go back. I'm willing to go back and do it a little bit differently.
If you go back there,
Yeah.
I will make a weekend off to go back
Yes.
there with you guys.
Oh, we're
And
going back.
I
But we
my only
love that.
problem is I hate camping. That's my only
Well,
problem.
we decided already that when we go back, and this is a lot to do with setup and stuff like that. It's not that me and Lee are bougie people, but we decided we're going to do an RV that we can drive up there because it takes so long to put everything together for him that it's like the entire day is gone for him.
And
We
then
can't go out and investigate.
and if you got to get out of Dodge quick,
Yeah.
see, I would do that. I would
Yeah.
totally meet you down there for that, and vice
Yeah. We
versa.
could all stay in the RV together.
Like up
Yeah.
here, I don't think we would stay the night there, but we would go into those areas
Hmm.
to see what's there.
Yeah.
So, let's plan that.
Absolutely.
Go with you.
Absolutely. I can tell you guys that, and I told Lee this, it was funny, when we left, and we obviously had this conversation and we both agreed, like, when we finally tell people our story, most people are probably going to say we're either crazy, we're making it up, we're full of crap, or whatever. But this is truly something that we went through, we lived through, we experienced, whatever you want to call it. But and I even said to him, I'd be willing to do a lie detector test on live, let people watch it happen. I said, this is something that you and I 100% went through. And it doesn't really matter to me if people believe me or not, honestly. I don't really care. But this is true. Like, we lived through this. And if you know me, if you truly know me, you know I'm like Bigfoot girl through and through. And for me to consider never going back after something, it would take something massive. And I considered that at first. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to put myself out there. Not if it's going to get that close and cross the line. Well, I mean, I guess I don't expect a Bigfoot to understand like it's crossing the line, grabbing you physically, but I technically got groped up and down my body. I get squeezed me from my foot all the way up to my head and back 3 times.
What
And
I
it's not
don't mean
fun.
this, I don't mean this like because you're in a panic situation at this time.
Hmm.
But was it gripping you hard or gently? Was like because you can
It
sit there,
was,
you can like squeeze something, but not
yeah.
put a lot of pressure on.
Well, it was really weird because I could feel it start, and it was very interesting because it was almost like it knew exactly where my body started. Because when it went under and grabbed, the first grab was like where my heel would be up my foot, and I could feel it from the bottom of my foot, and it went up my leg. But its whole entire hand was like around my whole leg, and you could feel it just as it was going up the leg, it was just squeezing like it was trying to either figure out, either was that me or what was it. I This is the part that I can't make sense of, is like, why was it squeezing me? What was it looking for? Was it wondering if we were in there? I mean, it watched us get in. What did it want? But it squeezed hard enough that it left bruises all over me. And like I said, like even today, here I am. This was on the weekend that we went was the 20, I think it was the 23rd, 22nd or 23rd, whatever the day was of June. And my body is still to this day covered in these bruises, and it looks like giant prints of hands. Like it just squeezed, but it was hard enough and grippy enough that like, and I'm laying there, and I am not joking when I say I am absolutely terrified because I can feel what it is in my mind. I know what it is, and I'm paralyzed. I'm laying there, scared out of my mind, paralyzed, shaking like a leaf, thinking it knows I'm here. It's grabbing me like it knows I'm here. And it's going to pull me straight out the bottom of this tent. And that's it. Like, I was just convinced that this could be it for me. It was just a terrifying moment for me. And I was not okay the whole night. And the weirdest part was, it was like Lee wasn't even affected by it. He was just like, it's fine. It left. Let's go to sleep. And I'm looking at him like, are you out of your mind? Do you think I'm going to sleep for 1 second? And he knew what was going on. He went through it with me. He experienced it. He heard it. He even felt it go up and down us 3 times. And when he explains it, he'll even say, I felt it go up, down, and back up for the 3rd time. But in his mind, in the moment, he thought it was this mattress making crunch, like movement or something. And then when I told him, he was just like, oh my God, like that's what that was. And I'm like, yeah. And I could physically feel its hand all over me. And it's just not a fun thing to go through. And I mean, I'm sitting here now, I'm just covered in goosebumps just thinking about it. It gives me the willies. But I think now that it's happened, I want to go back, but I can tell you this, I'm going to be up all night and I'm going to be outside. And I told Lee, I said, if we go, we're going to do an investigation, but it's going to go on during the night. So that way I'm outside, I'm comfortable. And if it comes up, I can see it. Not being able to see it is terrifying because you don't know what's out there. You don't know what's grabbing you. I mean, you know, but you don't know, like you feel it, but you can't see it in the moment. And we actually in the tent had like a mesh top to it. And Lee wanted to keep it open like that. And I was like, no, I want the cover on. And in a way, I'm like, I kind of wish I did see it like face to face. And in a way, I'm like glad I didn't, because honestly, I probably had a heart attack and died right there in that tent. But it was a little just too close for comfort for me, is what happened. And I just had an experience like I've just never had before, and my feeling about it and panicked and my anxiety went through the roof was like nothing I'd ever experienced. But it taught me a little lesson, because when I got there, and the last thing on earth I will be in this kind of environment is cocky or pretend like I'm an expert. I don't care how many years I'm there. That's not how I'm going to get. Okay. And for whatever reason, maybe it's because it's my first time out in the woods with Lee, but I kind of wanted to let him see, what Bigfoot girls like, you know what I mean? Kind of show my stuff with Lee, let him see what I'm all about. And what I do when I get out there is I always take my shoes off to ground myself with the earth to share my energy. And when I was doing that, for whatever reason, and I never say this, I remember saying in my mind, I don't fear you and I have no anxiety about you. And it was, I swear, Dave, like as if it was reading my mind and said, oh, really? Well, we'll show you, girl. And it showed me. It checked my ass. Okay. But yeah, that's what we went through. And, like I said, it doesn't matter to Lee and I, if people think we're nuts or whatever. We know what we went through. It was a experience of a lifetime that we'll never forget to the day we die. And
were you guys armed?
Yes, we were. Yeah, we're not going to ever go anywhere where we're not like completely protecting ourselves in that way, but we never in a million years would ever want to harm anything. Unless we know something is for sure harming us, we would never harm anything else. As a matter of fact, I kind of joked with them today and I said, what would you would have like thought or done if like the thing had grabbed me, pulled me through the tent and like tried to run off with me? And he goes, I don't know. And I'm thinking to myself, hello? What are you gonna stand there and watch it like run off with me? And he goes, I don't know what I would have done. And I was like, how about protect me? Like if you have to get to that point, okay, yeah, then I can see grabbing a gun. But outside of that, we're always going to make sure we're protected, but never want to harm anything unless absolutely something horrible's happening. to that extent, like, somebody gets grabbed or taken off or something. Like, no. Because I've been doing this for so long that I've had things come in camp. I've had, like the Bigfoot families and whatever walk around us and get super close and throw things at us and all that. And not once ever have, in all the years that I've been doing this, have myself or my dad or anyone else that I've gone out with ever had to shoot a gun, ever, not once ever. So I always want things to protect myself, but I don't take it out there to harm anything.
Jax, I'm going to get you to hold on for a minute here as we say goodnight to everybody, because I got to wrap this thing up. Tomorrow night on the show, no relation to Jackie, spelt differently, Jeff Harmon is going to be our guest talking about ufology and esoterics. It'll be a great show with Jeff tomorrow night. And I hope you all tune in. Thank you tonight to Philip, Darren, Louis ×2, and Joe for the super chats. Thank you to all our new subscribers. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Go get your swag at the store. We'll talk to you very soon in about 20 and a half hours. See you later, everybody.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.